Provo, Utah. This is the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast with your hosts, Joseph DeGolier and Caleb Schweiss. This is Ultima Final Fantasy. Welcome to another episode of, I almost said getting fat. Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast. I am Joe.
And I'm Caleb.
And we're going to continue our Final Fantasy XIII review.
And I swear to God, this time we're on top of it.
Oh, please.
Because the gameplay is the one thing that we will never forget. Because there's so much of it that... Yeah, you just can't.
We'll erase history all we want about.
Yeah, don't worry about what I just said. No, but yeah,
we did just fine.
Yeah. Yeah, let's brush it off the shoulder.
Final Fantasy XIII gameplay.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to get into this. Gameplay, design, music, legacy. We're gonna answer some questions, and then we're gonna put it on our ranking.
Oh man, do you know where you're gonna put it yet?
Oh, I can't tell you yet.
You do know, though. I can see it in your beady little eyes.
Actually, no.
Okay. Your eyes aren't quite that beady then.
Anyway, you can find us on youtube.com/Ultima Final Fantasy, Twitter. Follow Caleb at UFF Podcast, Facebook.com/Ultima Final Fantasy.
Get an occasional double message by following our Twitter page.
You can explain to people what that is.
All right, so... sorry to interrupt you, but we had an interview with Nero, right? And he said back, he's like, hey, shoot me a link when you guys do the second part, and I'll get you some views. And I was like, views or a podcast? But then I realized, oh, it's Twitch. And Joe answered him, and then I answered him. Joe's like, all right, thanks, man. And then I answered her later. I'm like, all right, we'll do that. Thanks, or something like almost the same message. And then I look through, and I'm like, God damn it, Joe. You answered him already, and then I answered him again. Seem like idiots. I should send like a third one in Spanish or something. Si, senor. Like,
you should.
I totally should. He's like, stop. Just leave me alone. How many fucking hosts do you have?
You can go to Twitch. We have less than he does. You can go to twitch.tv/Ultima Final Fantasy and follow Caleb's playthrough of Final Fantasy XIV, which, by the way, you can join in playing with us Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 6:30. That's when Caleb's supposed to hop on.
Yeah.
So get on around then. You can either watch him on Twitch or you can join him in the game itself.
It's true.
We're on the Brynhildr server.
Mm-hmm.
Brynhildr.
Yep. Have you, what did you choose for your class? Just real quick.
I'm a white mage.
Oh, I'm a mage. I'm not sure which. I'm in white clothes, and that's not what I wanted.
You might want to restart if you don't want that.
I want a black mage.
That sounds like white mage.
Well, it just says, like, mage.
I don't actually know.
It was like 3 a.m, though, and I was like, oh, God, these things. What is this?
See, I'm continuing off where I left off, which was like after the little bit in the first 15 levels or whatever.
After the little bit.
You go on from there. Anyway.
Shit. Yeah, I didn't have the pointy hat.
So if you love this messy fucking show, you can support us on Patreon. Our new website, ultimafinalfantasy.com. Brought to you by our Patreon donors.
Yeah, join the forums there. It's legit.
Yes, join the forums.
My picture is bigger. I get the full cactar this time.
All right. Shall we move on to gameplay of Final Fantasy XIII? By the way, if you're listening to this part and haven't listened to part 1, you're an idiot. Let's get to gameplay.
Wow. All right.
All right, Schweiss, so gameplay in Final Fantasy XIII. Assuming you're not in the middle of a cutscene, talking about the rest of the game, when you walk around in a hallway.
Oh, yes.
And then you hit into a guy, and that'll bring you into a new battle screen. in which can you explain kind of like what the battle system entails?
Okay, so you've got these characters, right? These people you walk around with, and they run into bad guys occasionally. And the cool thing about 13, and they kind of went along with what 12 brought with the open world, see the enemies in the field, kind of yada yada thing, which of course 11 had too, but 11's an MMO, and that's always what MMOs have, so not a surprise.
It's kind of weird that we're going back into a menu after those two games.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, and then we went away with it in 14, we're going away with it in 15, so
yeah, like
13's kind of out of place in between those.
It kind of does feel
4
that way
games.
a little bit. But yeah, so
5 games.
You see the enemy, you can approach them. A cool part about this one is you get preemptive strikes. If you sneak up on the bad guy, if you're like slow enough, or you just catch one that's retarded and doesn't see you, or whatever it may be. Yeah, you get a preemptive strike, you hit them first, and then like the very next spell you'll hit them with will stagger them, which then allows you to deal massive damage. Kind of a mixture of 12 and I'd say 10 battle system-wise. And I say 10 mostly because the cut to, the random battle aspect of the open world feel, that end, 13 is insanely fast. And 10 was as fast as you wanted it to be. 13 is way too fast sometimes. This game, with the paradigm shifts that I mentioned in part 1, basically you press L1 and then you select a list of pre-created paradigms which have different classes for each of your party members picked out. And you know, the classes are Commando for physical attack, Ravager for magic, Medic for healing, and let's see, Saboteur for debuffing, Synergist, and I think that's it, right?
I think so.
I think I did 6. Right. I don't know. If there's one more, I'm sorry. But you set those up, and this game has... There's like a certain way that each enemy will be staggered. Maybe not each enemy, but a certain type of enemies.
Most are staggered one way, and then there's others that you kind of have to pay special attention to, like you have to debuff them before you start.
Right, or you're never going to kill
the whole
them.
Ravager and then Commando, whatever.
Right.
It mostly works that you stagger them with magic and you take them down with physical attacks. That's most of it.
Right.
And, you know, the strategy comes in when it's like, okay, the enemy hits you and it stops your movement, and then you have to heal, and then, you know, maybe you need some buffs on yourself, or else you're not going to be able to take the onslaught while you're attacking him physically and all this other stuff. So that's where the switching between these paradigms, which are collections of each character has their own class or whatever,
right.
You're saying, that's where the strategy comes in, is like, okay, which paradigm do I need for right now? And then right now. And then there's kind of a pattern to each enemy, and the whole point is to figure that out. So it's different from all the other Final Fantasy games that came before it, because you're not necessarily, you can if you want, you're not necessarily selecting an action, but you're selecting a role.
Right. It's it feels a lot less button mashy. I will say that above others. You can't just walk in and be like, all right, well, attack.
Well, it depends on like how hard the enemies are.
Yeah, if you get super overpowered, you can, but even then, you won't 5-star the battles, which is another interesting thing they brought into the gameplay, a rating system. Now, I traditionally get pissed off by any sort of rating system in a game. Like when I'm trying to play Devil May Cry, I'm like, what do you mean I got an S on that mission? It was a 49-second mission.
What does S stand for?
It's like above an A. It's like super awesome. I don't even know.
And I was like, shit.
No, yeah. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm good. But no, like there'd be a mission in one of those games that was literally less than a minute. I walk from one area to another area, and it's like, mission complete, S ranking, God, yeah. I'm like, what is this shit? So it always feels really trivial to me, and I'm always... it's kind of a hit and miss. But with 13, the stars, they play a role. I mean, the better your ranking is for each battle, the better item drops you get, the better chance for certain things, and I don't know, it adds kind of a nice little flavor of difficulty, especially to some of the side missions. So, I mean, the faster you figure out how to stagger the enemy, the faster you'll finish the fight, and generally you'll get a 5-star or 4-star rating. And so, yeah, they changed a lot of stuff with this one. They made it a little bit more back to form with a hybrid from 10 to 12 with the open world and really fast style. And I don't know. It's just, and then they throw that in, and I was like, that's kind of weird. I don't know. How did you feel about that? Like, did it bug you ever?
The rating system?
Yeah,
thing?
like it just seems odd.
Well, it simply supports the fact that the strategy is getting them down as fast as possible. The gameplay is set up so that it is already extremely quick gameplay. The enemies are extremely fast, and the whole point is that you just want to get through that shit as fast as possible. So
Right.
it's a game where if you're in an area that is above your level, it's a game that rewards quick thinking and strategy.
Yeah, you got to be really fast, especially post-game grinding on the Adamantoise guys. They will fuck you up very quickly if you're not on top of it. So it's amazingly fast, and I found that pretty refreshing. Not that, we mentioned this earlier, not that 12 is slow, but 13 is just so fast that it just feels great. It feels good to have a game that I've got to be on my toes at all times, or guys will kill you.
It's always, if you're at where you're supposed to be at in the game, it's always challenging.
Yeah, which is most of the game for us, because there's not really that much to do other than like the occasional hallway to a treasure chest and then back to the regular hallway. And
well, that's for a large portion of the game, yes.
Right. But yeah, it does open up, but same thing. I don't know. I thought it was pretty fun. I feel like there was a lot of challenge to it, and the fact that a random encounter on guys that I've killed 8 or 10 times can still kill me, I think is kind of admirable. There is a way to grind your way out of it to some extent. You get the crystallarium locks until you reach certain points of the game, and that kind of prevents you from just leveling up until you can kill everything immediately. That and the battle style, and I kind of praise that in this game. It's nice to not be able to just grind your way out of every situation, to just buff your characters to the point where nothing can stop you. You still have to know how to play the game.
I like it, but there's no place in the game that okay, I respect it and I like it. One part of me really likes that the game is always challenging in some way and is always asking for some kind of strategy. The other part of me is kind of misses mindless leveling up.
Kind of misses just attacking the wolves on the way and just doing like 9,999.
Yeah, or maybe a little level up dealios like
yeah,
like finding a little rare game in a wall and setting your gambits exactly so that you only attack his spawn and thus only get experience from his spawn, and he keeps spawning him. And
you buff him to help you.
You walk away, and then you come back, and you're 30 levels higher.
Yeah, that's true.
I miss those things.
This game did not have that in any way. I mean, even if there was a creature that kept summoning its spawn, which there are, I don't know if the XP stacks, and even if it does, it's not worth sitting there all day attacking these freaking mech beasts.
What sucks is that because of kind of like the experience differences in different areas, the game is always like, well, you're just going to waste your time here. You might as well try the really hard shit.
Yeah, go fight that boss that you've died to 20 times now. You can kill it. But that's kind of how it does.
You can kill it. Just figure it out.
Yeah, just don't suck. But
so obviously we both had difficulties with this game.
Oh yeah, there were certain boss fights that I was like, oh my god, how am I going to get past this? And then I would turn it off for a few hours, go cry for a little while, and then come back and
on my shoulder, yes.
And I would beat it. Just like immediately, I'd be like, oh yeah, that wasn't that bad. I just sucked before. I've had this awakening, this internal realization of what I needed to do. I just wake up in the middle of the night with cold sweat, and I'm like, oh, triple sentinel. And then try disaster. And then I fall back asleep just immediately. Then I wake up the next day and I'm fine. I just beat the boss.
Yeah, it's like, something, I don't know. I just felt like this was the right thing to do.
Yeah, I had some epiphany last night. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was pretty nice. I do agree that it is nice to be able to be cheap with the game, and 13 takes that away, and it also takes away the cheapness of just grinding your way out of it. So on one hand, I miss the days of just mashing X and killing everything, but I also give the game props for making it still difficult every time I run into a battle. I can kill the Adamantoise guys.
This game doesn't fuck around.
Yeah, it really
I guess that's another way to look at the linearity. Just being like, you know what? This game doesn't want to waste... Actually, okay. This game is serious, and it wants to get down to business. And you will make it through the giant story section of the game, and then you will do all the hunts, and you will 5-star them, and you will level up your shit.
Oh, yeah.
Because otherwise, you will be punished. That's how it is.
Yeah, that's kind of how it is. And when it comes to gameplay, we can't leave out the side quests in this game. Mm-hmm. There are not very many as far as like sections. There's not like the chocobo race, the butterfly catching, the da-da-da, the da-da-da. There's a ton of hunts, and then the really annoying little thing. Oh, no, there's a side quest with the chocobos, I guess. They're running around digging up treasure. That's a side quest, I'd say.
Yes, yeah, it's a little activity.
There's a trophy for it.
Oh, is there?
Yeah. You have
then
to
it's a side quest.
Yeah, you have to do enough of them to get the ribbon item. I think it's like the 50th or 20th or something.
Okay. So there's only two different types.
Two different types of quests, yes. And there's the 64 Seath Stone missions, which are essentially people that were turned into Seath but are still able to kind of find peace by you carrying out the mission that they were meant to do, which is somehow kill this monster that they couldn't kill. It's like, dude, just level up. Like, go beat the game and then come back and your crystallarium's completely unlocked and level grind. Like, what do you need help with this? What's wrong with you? And so, yeah, they couldn't do it. And you just kind of do this little mission for them, killing a certain beast. And one of the trophies that is kind of a difficult one is 5-starring all of the hunts in the game. And that's kind of difficult, to be honest.
It's another word that rhymes with hunt.
Yeah. Huntish. Yeah. And I don't know, there's some that are pretty easy, and I 5-starred the first time, but then there's some like the final guy. He is a pain in the ass.
What's his name? Do you know?
I think the title of it is the Doom Herald. It's like Vertraxinox or some crazy name.
Do you think he kind of like the big boss, like the big final guy?
Yeah.
Like Arya Isomat?
Yes.
Okay.
He's a lot faster than Isomat, though.
Is he harder than Isomat?
No.
But not... How about to 5-star?
No, I 5-starred him the second time I killed him.
Oh, that's good.
But he drops an item called Gold Watch, which reduces reduces the time needed for a 5-star, because it's based on how quickly you defeat the enemy. This Gold Watch extends that time, so 5-starring is a much easier task. So I go through, I'm taking out the hunts. Most of them are whatever. There's a few memorable ones that I really want to talk about, though. There's the final guy who was relentless, and just he could do some serious damage quick. And just out of nowhere, I'll be like fully buffed, fully healed, and then just one person dies, and then everyone else dies, like immediately, and there's no getting out of it. It's just so fast. There's him. There's the giant cactar, which I, of course, enjoyed, because the cactar is one of my favorites in the series. You basically, to start the hunt, you have to go kill a cactar, just one cactar at any point, so like you'll probably have the ability to take it on. And you walk up, and it's the cactar that you first find on the plains that's like picking on Saz. It's like running around him and making him all mad. But he like finds something and becomes this giant cactar, and he's like fucking with Saz again, really pissing him off. And yeah, you take him on, and he's pretty rough. He does 10,000 needles, so it does 10k.
Oh!
Yeah.
Can you even handle that? Oh, wait, yeah, it goes over 99, whatever.
My max health was like 22,000. Woo! But if you go Sentinel, if you go triple Sentinels, it will decrease it to like 4,000.
Oh.
But I basically had to keep doing him until I got the random stagger bar, which is a set of items that'll give you the ability to bring him up to almost stagger, and then one more hit staggers him. I just kept doing that until I got it, and then I killed him like in 20 seconds or something.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's a pain though. So that one was really cool.
How do you compare the hunts in this one versus the hunts in 12?
I don't know. I was a little less invested in the hunts this time, but I think
it takes less to do them though.
True, there's less accepting.
And you don't have to kind of like figure out where it is. Not that we had to because we had guides, but
yeah,
otherwise you would have to.
But yeah, I don't know. It just I felt a little less connected to the side quest stories in this one. Like in 12, I'd be like, oh yeah, it was that guy and this to get this key. I remember that. In this one, I'm just like, sure, yeah, hunt, and he's 10 feet away, and I'll go, yeah, I'll kill him. I didn't read any of the memos.
It totally just tells you where to go.
Yeah. I didn't look at the freaking bestiary in this one. Like I obsessed over it in 12. I'm like, oh, there's a completion bar. I want to get it maxed. And this, I was like, yeah, I'll just platinum it. That's enough. So I don't know, I felt a little more disconnected, but there were some that were really fun. And there's actually tone berries in this game. And I didn't realize this until I started doing all the hunts. You go up to one of the hunts, and this like monster thing just flies out of the sky and is like circling around and looks all intimidating. And then this little tone berry like walks up to it, just stabs it with a knife, and it just kind of does the 13 death scene thing where it turns into black and just... And then you fight a tone berry.
Wow.
It was cool. I kicked his ass, like it just destroyed him, but he was still pretty awesome, and I was like, wow, I didn't think that was part of this game. So I was pleasantly surprised with a toneberry in one of the hunts.
Nice.
And there's another one where there's 3, which is more difficult, but you still kind of slaughter them. Like you just debuff them a little bit and hit them with some spells.
Did you have fun doing the hunts?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah. It gave me kind of a little reason to be fighting.
I did a good amount, and I liked the hunts, except when I didn't get 5 stars, which was often, and I was like, no.
Well, it sucks because then you have to go...
I only did like 30 hunts.
You have to go all the way back to where it starts, accept the hunt again, and then go to where the hunt is at.
That's horrible.
Which is sometimes quite the walk, and I was not okay with that.
I wish that they would allow you to retry
after you see the stars.
The star screen.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
That would be nice. I mean, I kind of got to the point where I was like, well, I'm kind of slow this time, so I'm going to restart just to make sure I don't have to walk back. But how many times did I do that when I was actually going to 5-star it? I'll never know. So that would have been nice. Let's see, the other side quest, like we talked about, just the running around on the chocobo, digging up items. Mm-hmm. You know, you can get some pretty dank shit going around and picking it up. Sometimes you'll get the gold nuggets, which you can sell for 60K. Sometimes plush chocobo dolls and all this random shit that you can sell. It's a decent way to earn money, and you don't have to fight.
So do we both agree that there's a nice, good, fast-paced, strategic gameplay here?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
This game is full of that.
And there's lots of hunts for you to explore. There's not too many. There's only one other side quest, which I guess is the chocobo thing. Which is kind of on Final Fantasy, especially compared to 11 and 12, the games before it. Not much to do.
Yeah.
In comparison, there is a lot of hunts.
Oh yeah.
So I guess there is a lot to do, but it's not very. There's not a lot of variety there.
No.
How do you feel about the level? I think the last aspect of gameplay is the Crystarium. What is the Crystarium? How do you feel about it?
It's essentially the method that you use to level up in this game. You get CP from every battle you fight. The amount of CP is dependent on the enemies and the star rating you get. And
is it based on the stars?
I think it is. I feel like I got less when I 4-starred in Animantoise. I may be...
He may be a chew.
Yeah, I may be... Oh, hey, easy. Don't be calling me that.
What?
No, it called me a chew. Look, man. All right, so...
that took me like 12. Okay.
All right, anyway, back to
ahead.
the thing. I feel like it does, but I don't know. I might have just been disappointed in myself to the point where I was like, I don't need it. But yeah, the Crystallarium is very similar to the Sphere Grid, I would say. Less sadistic by far.
Sphere Grid from Final Fantasy X.
Final Fantasy X, yes. It's pretty similar to the leveling up in that you get a certain path that your character takes, and you just kind of follow it, and eventually you can all learn all the roles and get a ton of different abilities, but not every ability. Not everybody gets every ability, which is kind of nice and kind of something I complained about in 10 and also complained about in 12. But at the same time, it does force you to use certain characters at certain parts of the game. Like when I was farming, when I was farming Adamantoise, having Death with Vanille was key. I mean, even if I wasn't doing the Death spam to kill him mode, I would still cast Death and it would do 180,000 damage. And I'm like, yeah, I want that. I'm going to do that. So I'd use her for that. I think Lightning's Army of One ability is like amazing. And
it looks amazing. I never got it.
Really?
It looks amazing, yeah.
It's pretty sweet. It does a lot, and it staggers the hell out of them. Like if you stagger somebody and then use it, it's almost max every time.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's good against bosses. And so it was a lot of fun that way with the Crystallarium. It kind of brought the best of both worlds with your characters still matter. They're not all just clones, just puppets that you throw whatever you want on them and they just become all the same character with a different skin, kind of like how 12 was. And that has its merits, but it's good to have a need for a character in a party. And that's something that 13, I think, delivers a little better than some of the others. Mm-hmm. Oh, man, there was something else I wanted to talk about with gameplay.
Guild, maybe? Fucking Gil in this game is so hard to come by, and especially you with your trophy that you're trying to get.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the trophies a little bit, maybe? Because or at least the accessory upgrading trophy.
So there's a gold trophy, and this is probably the last thing you'll ever do in this game before you never touch it again. And you have to upgrade you have to hold every weapon and equipment piece, which seems, like, oh yeah, that's going to be a little bit of work, but no, it's a lot. That means you have to upgrade every single tier 1 weapon to the tier 2 phase. Every one of those at least once. And then you have to upgrade one of those tier 2 to the tier 3, which costs a trap, which is like trapezohedron, whatever the hell. I don't even know what it's called.
Trapsahedron. I have no idea.
Trapsahedron. We'll call it that. And those are either a cost of 2 million gil, which is disgusting.
A lot of gil in this game.
Or
takes a long time.
It does. Or killing one of the adamant tortoise guys that has 15.6 million HP or something like that. And you'll have I think it's a 5 or 10% drop to get one of those. And these are not easy fights. This is work, like just intense battling to get these things. And
you only get gil by selling shit or finding it in a treasure chest.
Yeah, that's it.
You do not get gil at the end of battles like you do in other Final Fantasy games.
Nope, you just get items and you have to sell those.
That requirement for that trophy is disgusting.
Oh, it is. I think that was that gold trophy probably cost me about 30 hours of my life.
Oh.
And the thing is after
a day and a little bit.
I know. It's a day and almost a work day. But the thing is even in addition to those, there were certain items that required the dark matter item, which I think I needed 6 of those to complete everything. And those are 800-something thousand gil a piece too. And they drop from a smaller little Sheolong Gooey is the guy's name. And they don't have as much HP, but they also spam their moves, so I was dying to them. I mean, I'm talking like post-game. This is like, I need 3 of these and I'm done with this game. And I'm still losing to these things. Because they'll hit you with a move, it's like Bay, and it'll debuff you, and then they'll hit you with Ultima, which if you have under 10,000 and you're debuffed, will kill you. Every time. So they'll like spam that, hit me with Ultima, and then sometimes they'll stomp their feet right after that too. So I've got to like switch to Sentinel really fast. Switch it quick! Yeah, switch in, heal one more time, and then switch back into Sentinel before his foot drops or I'm dead. Like some crazy stuff. And
man, that's crazy shit.
Yeah. It's a lot of work to get that platinum. I'm kind of ashamed how much time I poured into it. And it wasn't even...
Less time than FF10.
Less time than FF10, yeah. I was about 20, 30 hours. Well, I'll say 20 hours because some of that I messed up and had to go back through the first 10 hours of the game.
Hear that in the FF10 review.
Yeah, hear all about my shame in Final Fantasy X Part 2. But yeah, so not as much time, but I feel like the mindless grinding kind of brought it down a notch, even though... For most of it, I was kept alert and engaged. You know, the fights are intense, but it wasn't really fun, per se, after the first 80 hours.
Yeah. But it's not like the Final Fantasy X shit was fun.
No.
I think Platinums are simply a way of saying, hey, I love video games so much, I'm willing to actually torture myself with them.
Yeah, I don't know. Some of the trophies in 10, I didn't really have that big of a problem with, though. Like the
Well, you had to kill the guy that like kept farting on you.
Yeah, the guy who kept casting flare or whatever.
Yeah, flare out of his ass.
That's true. That was a lot of the game, actually. That was like 20 hours of staring at the guy's friggin' pucker. But, you know. Oh, God. But it kind of felt that way. It felt very similar to 10. Mm-hmm. But 10 at least had I think the capture quest was kind of fun. It was frustrating when the things wouldn't drop, but it was at least going around to different areas, seeing different areas. Like the Archulite step is all I know of Final Fantasy XIII now. Like just, I could navigate it in my sleep. I could probably defeat those guys in my sleep now.
Wow, nice.
If I've got my paradigms right where I remember them, I'm golden. So, a lot of good, solid content until the late game trophy hunting, and then it becomes really mundane and frustrating.
Yeah, but that sounds like 10 from your experience of it.
Yeah.
So good gameplay.
Yeah, I think the gameplay is great in this game.
I think the gameplay is also great. A lot of people hate it though.
I feel like if you hate it for the gameplay, you're too slow for it. I know that might be a little rude, but
maybe
it's just not something you want to do. Maybe you don't want to be kept active through the fights. Maybe you're in it for the story kind of thing. I don't know.
Or do you just miss the old gameplay and thus you're judging 13 too harshly for such a thing? I
thought it was pretty refreshing though.
Yeah, it's fun actually.
I'd say that's where this game really hits its
I remember
strength.
the first time I played FF13 and I used to really hate to grind. I still do. Used to and I still do. I used to hate just the utter grind of the other Final Fantasy games.
Right.
Then FF13 came out and played it, and I was like, I'm grinding right now on Pulse, but I'm having fun. I'm not bored. Like, this is fun for me.
Yeah.
And now this time around, it's a little different because we got a time deadline, and so that might, change kind of the way I look at things. But at the same time, it wasn't mindless. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Like even if I was grinding on the exact same guy over and over again because he's a quick fight and I know what I'm doing.
He's half dead when you get there.
It's still like kind of like ooh, yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah.
And then if something goes wrong, I'm like, okay, I gotta deal with this now.
Yeah, there's that, and like even
it's not going on the world map, going back and forth, and then you get into the thing, and then you're like pressing the X button. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
And some of those late game 10 stuff had that too, those big boss fights, but not the whole game. There were plenty of times where I was like, all right, I can sit here and kill these sin spawn all day. Mm-hmm. Like they're not going to touch me. But I have to advance, so I'm going to kill this thing.
It is unfortunate that the game, because it throws so much at you, especially if you're like getting from higher level when you're doing that shit that you were doing. It is kind of unfortunate that you never get into a God mode spot where there's not something in the game that is not difficult.
Yeah. Unless you really go back. Like those bomb things in the cave near the end. I can slaughter those. Like no problem.
Well, I'm saying like there's always a guy that's just a little rough.
Yeah.
Even a random guy.
That's true, yeah. The end boss, I slaughtered him and Barty going back through. There was still a time where I'm like, I have to heal really fast. I'm like, why? Why can't you just die?
Why can't you just die? I like that.
But yeah, no, it's interesting, and I find it positive though.
Okay.
I think it was good. It made you have to pay attention, and I don't know. I feel like if you're going to criticize the game, the gameplay is probably not the strongest argument.
No, it's a great gameplay.
Yeah.
I think it's great gameplay, honestly.
It's different.
The
that's
leveling
for sure.
up is kind of and the fucking gill is ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. It's sick.
But the actual fighting, the battle system in the game, I love it.
Yeah. I was first little while I was like, man, I missed this actually. I was like, this is really fun. It's no longer just the attack, heal,
the mindless attack, heal.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
I had to go for it.
Yeah. So, better or worse than 12's gameplay? I know you love 12's gameplay.
Oh, you got to do this.
I don't know. I just want you to kill a baby.
Oh, Jesus. We'll talk about that on the show. Like what I do on my own time. A little bit better, I'd say. I really like 12, but oh man, I like the side quests more in 12. I think they're better. I think they're more fun. But 13's gameplay overall, I think, beats it out.
They say it takes... we just had a comment earlier that said it took away the strategy from the game by having the auto battle function instead of like selecting abilities manually.
That's not true.
But no, the strategy is there. It's just a different strategy.
Well, even then, though, there's
different kind of strategy. And sometimes you do need to go into the abilities section and do something specific.
If I'm debuffing late game... And I have, that's what I wanted to talk about, the auto battle. If I'm debuffing and I just throw on the auto debuff on a leg, on an adamantoise, because you need to debuff them and then attack them to kill them faster. If I have D-shell, it'll have 6 different D-shells. And if I D-shell them, my character will keep casting D-shell on them over and over and over again. So... it doesn't take away from it. If anything, it makes me have to pay attention, and I'm like, oh, I'm casting the same thing that he already has.
You press back and be like, oh, stop that, and then do the next thing.
Yeah, although one thing I will complain about, there's another thing I forgot to bitch about. With that, when I undo, so like if you get a certain amount of debuffs on a leg, it'll auto adjust to attack the other leg, because that one's got 3 debuffs, and this one doesn't have any. And then I'll do that, and I'll back out and move it over to the other leg, but then my party attacks the leg that doesn't have the debuffs, and it really pisses me off. So that's a downside to it. But the nice thing about it, though, is the AI will...
The characters have their own... they want to do what they want.
No, they need to bend to my will. Another thing is
doing the 2 commandos, and then one guy will just attack a different guy.
Yeah,
and you're like, what the fuck?
Yep. And I'm like, commandos, do the damage. Do my bidding. Listen to me, you fuck. But there's that. But they will adjust their spell. So if they do D-shell, they will change it from D-shell. They won't just keep casting the same thing over and over again.
The AI.
Yeah, the AI. My guy will do exactly what I set it up to do. And another thing that's frustrating with the gameplay is the fact that they group up. Like this, to me, on some of those really tough fights, I would get so mad at. I've got a sentinel, right? A person that's designed to take hits and to draw the aggro from the enemy to them to take those hits. Now, that's great. That's fantastic. They've got abilities to entrench themselves, take hardly any damage, but when they do it and my characters are fucking standing right next to them and they hit them with an AoE attack, area of effect, does damage in a certain...
area?
Yeah, a parameter of around the spell. They're all grouped up around the fucking sentinel, and I'm like, get the fuck away from the fucking tank. They're getting hit
and
with it.
And you have no way to control them.
No, I don't. I'm like, God damn it, if I could just move a little bit, a little fucking bit, I could get away from that Eroga spell that's destroying me. That was infuriating. I hear that fixed that in 10.2 or 13.2 though, so I'm excited for that.
I heard in 13.2 like your first paradigm shift is always like kind of slow.
Yeah,
I guess they fixed that. It's
nice.
Like a really quick paradigm shift.
Did you catch the little paradigm strat where right as you cast your last ability, if you switch it, you get like a fresh list?
You told me that, and I never exploited it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I exploited the hell out of it, dude.
I'm sure you did.
I had to with the Adamant guys. I just like go into the cure one really fast, do one cure, and then slam into the thing. But even with those super annoying moments, I think it's great gameplay. Yeah. It's just a few times that I want to...
It's fun. It's strategic. It is not like the games before it. I know that's a huge complaint, but it doesn't have to be.
It's a refreshing take. 15's not like the games before it either, and most people are excited for that. So
hopefully.
Yeah. We don't want it to stop there.
Some aren't.
True. There are those.
So gameplay equals good.
Gameplay equals good, yes.
All right, let's talk about the design of the game.
Yeah. All right, so what did you think of the design of this game? I mean, I know It's their first foray into the PlayStation 3, and as we know from PS1, it doesn't always go the way they want it to, as far as the graphical quality, the capacity of it. 13, though.
13 is still one of the best looking PS3 games.
It is.
In fact, can you think of a better looking PS3 game?
God of War 3 looks better. But God of War 3 isn't as massive as Final Fantasy XIII, so it's not as impressive. The 13 looks amazing. The cinematics are awesome. The character design is... it's great. They look realistic. They've got good facial features. There's...
Agree.
All the enemies look amazing in this game, too. There's great shadowing, great shading. I don't know. It just looks really fucking good.
Yeah.
The backgrounds, the world, all of it. It doesn't always...
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
And it's not like the other games where it was like, there's kind of the gameplay graphics.
And then the cutscene graphics. Yeah.
They're both very comparable.
Yeah.
It just looks amazing. The lighting effects in this game are incredible.
It's true, yeah.
The way they use like the crystal kind of thing that they've always had in the Final Fantasy games. All the kind of crystal-y like stuff. It just that glassy shade that they kind of have over everything in FF13.
Yeah.
And it is just gorgeous.
Yeah, it is. It's one of the best looking PS3 games out there, I think.
Yes, I think it looks better than any PS4 game I've ever seen.
Really?
It might not be in terms of like pixels or whatever, but it's not only a good looking game in that sense. It's also like it's beautifully designed.
Yeah.
The colors and it's
very aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, extremely aesthetically pleasing.
Well, I mean, we know that it's not always about the pixel either, because Final Fantasy XII.
Final Fantasy XII looks better than Final Fantasy X, and yet
it's a big jump, and yet it's less. So it's all about what you do with it.
It has less polygons.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to say.
It's not about the polygon size. It's about what you do with it, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
For all you graphic artists out there. Just
now, there is one thing here. Yoshitaka Amano, what was it, Amano? No, Nomura. Nomura was in charge of character design, wasn't he?
Yes.
Bastard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a vendetta against Nomura now.
Actually, you know what? They're more mild in this. I think the character design is not quite as zany as they were in Final Fantasy X. That's for sure. And there's no vest. There's no
12 vest?
There's no Vaughn vest.
True. That is the one thing that I'm just like
gross looking.
You're atrocious.
There's nothing like that, ski cap and trench coat, and with lightning, it's whatever the fuck she's wearing, but it's not like crazy.
Yeah, no, it doesn't stand out to the point where it's like jarringly odd.
I guess there is Vanille and Fang, but from a different time.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, and their outfit isn't that ridiculous to the point where I don't know.
It's kind of ridiculous, but it's not as noticeable as it is in FF10.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Which I believe was the last game Nomura did the character designs for.
Yeah, main series wise, I believe so.
And he really likes his fucking weird shit. So
yeah, he likes his anime.
I'm kind of glad that he toned it down just a little bit for FF13.
Yeah.
And so that mixed with just the beautiful rendering of the environments and the creatures, it's a beautiful game.
It is. I mean, the hair looks good, everything.
My favorite scene visually, at the very least, is Snow and Sarah in the fireworks scene. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. And
they go out there. Like that, in its fully rendered 3D state, is just beautiful.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Like anything that Pixar could put out, like it'd be about the same quality as far as the detail and animation and just gorgeous design. In that one scene, it's just it's jaw-dropping, and it was especially jaw-dropping in 2010.
Yeah.
I was just like...
Yeah, no, the game looked fantastic when I picked it up.
This game looks incredible.
Yeah.
Eye candy everywhere.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
In many, many different senses of the word.
Jill.
Yeah. Oh, your tiny tie. Just the tie.
That's
That's right.
Oh, jeez.
So, yeah, I really don't have any complaints about the design of this game. I don't know. The fro is awesome. The fro mechanics were well done. There was some really awesome wave. I can't imagine how long it takes to clean the chocobo shit out of the hair, but whatever. Don't worry about the technical side of the chocobo and the hair. I don't know.
Maybe the chocobo flies out to take a shit. And
maybe. He probably had to train it to do that, though.
Yeah.
He's like, hey.
So at some point, he had chocobo shit in his afro.
Yeah, he probably had to shave it off.
That's too bad.
I can't imagine cleaning that out. But, I think the game looks great. I mean, there's a few outfits that are like, it looks kind of retarded, but it's never like just, what is that? Yeah. Like they're almost naked or whatever. It's pretty good.
There's one part of the design I don't like, and I'm not sure if this goes under design or is some kind of mechanic. When you're running around and then you hit a jump spot, and sometimes you can get in like a jump spot loop.
Oh, yeah. That's probably more gameplay, but yeah, I hate it.
Okay, well, let's talk about that for a second. The fucking camera in this game, the game wasn't sure whether or not it wanted to be like a fully rotational kind of camera like they have in FF12 and FF11, or if it wanted to have a fixed camera like in FF10 or, FF9 or 8 or 7,
right,
where the game decides where the camera goes. No. They just... it's kind of a mishmash.
Yeah, it's like a hybrid.
It's really messy because it is. You can move the camera, but at the same time, the camera decides when to stop your movement.
Yeah, it's strange.
And so, you do have bad situations where, like, you were in a weird jump spot before, where it was like one hallway, and then there was a thing below, and then there was another jump.
Yeah.
And it was basically, it was 3 jumps in a row. But then if you got the camera in the wrong spot, it'd be like jump, 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 and then you go back.
Yeah.
Not on purpose. You're not trying to. You just go be like, bink, 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 bink. And so that was pretty terrible. The camera is noticeably, generally bad. Luckily, it's not part of the gameplay. So, not too worried.
Yeah, no, it's not a big deal. There's only a few locations where it would really screw you over like that. But,
So, I think besides the camera, wow. The game is just incredibly beautiful and is... I think even still, I know with the original release of FF14, it was like this incredibly graphically like thing, but they had to bring the graphics down, I guess, for Realm Reborn to make it like more playable or something like that. That's what I heard. I still think, and even with the cutscenes in the Realm Reborn, Final Fantasy XIII is the best looking Final Fantasy game out of all of them.
Okay.
I mean, it might change with FF15. I don't know. But so far.
Oh, I'm sure it will.
So far, I think FF13 is just like the king of the graphical and design and everything of the Final Fantasy games. It's so good looking. There's not a single frame that you couldn't like just take a picture of in that game and just be like, wow, doesn't that look great? Yeah, that looks great.
Yeah, there's some fantastic environments and everything in this game. It was good. That's another area where it really excels.
Mm-hmm. The environments. Well, you said there was a different team for each environment, right?
Yeah, that's what they were saying.
So do they each have their kind of like own designer? Because I know each of the environments, each of the 11 places or 13 places that you go through, they each have a very specific look to them.
Yeah, they do. It's not like in other games where the world kind of has a certain feel and they're all kind of tailored to that. There are some
like
vastly,
FF12, I'd say.
Yeah, there's some areas that are vastly different. I mean, there's the Lake Brescia area versus the the forest right outside of what is it, Palimpom, blah blah,
versus like the the zoo thing that they have going on.
Oh yeah. There's just so many different
areas. And then
areas.
There's Grand Pulse, and then there's the weird thing on the way to Orphan, and there's the White Hallway of Death.
Yeah.
It's just it's a good looking game.
It really is.
Damn good looking game. The cutscenes are good looking too. It's just like, wow.
Thankfully, because there's a lot of them. It'd be bad for them to not look good.
They look like shit.
Yeah.
And just, it's certainly a place where all the Final Fantasy games have kind of excelled since like Final Fantasy VI. They've all kind of been the epitome of whatever system not the epitome, but the pinnacle of whatever system that they're on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for 7, but they worked
7
on that.
was at the beginning of it, so it kind of was. It set the stage.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it did.
But it didn't. I don't think it pushed it nearly as much as 13, which is very impressive considering it is their first foray into the PS3.
So did they? You said earlier they had technical challenges with this.
They wanted to
with the shops.
Oh yeah, they said they had like a limitation and they couldn't create shops in game to match the graphical quality of the rest of the game, so they weren't comfortable putting them in.
Oh, so
that's what I read.
graphics number one priority for Square Enix.
Yeah, that's kind of how it is. That's honestly...
And you know what? They definitely... we ask for graphics and they give it to us.
They do, yeah. They're very good at that.
So
I'm not too broken up about the shops. I didn't find it like... jarring or anything to have to shop from the save point. I'm just like, whatever. It saves time. I don't have to walk into this shitty town to buy their wares. I can just buy it on the market, Mm-hmm. So I was okay with that. But yeah, that is something that they voiced concern about, so they just chopped it. They're like, all right, well, screw it. We don't need it.
Yeah, it's
Can you imagine where the shops would be on Grand Pulse? Like, who's going to be running that?
I don't know. I don't know. At that point, they would have had to rewrite the whole thing where like the people aren't there.
Yeah, or at least a few people.
Or like there's a foul C that's like, well, give me what you want, I guess.
Yeah. It's like, I'm the mercantile foul C.
The mercantile?
Mercantile, yeah.
Mercantile. I know it is mercantile, but I think merkin.
Oh, like
and
American?
then tile as no.
Oh.
I think merkin as in merkin.
The pubic wig?
Oh,
what are you talking about?
I want people to just go look it up.
That was my dream.
Beautiful design. Beautiful.
Oh, yeah, the game. I was like, Merkins. I don't know. They can look good, I guess, but...
I have no idea. I haven't...
You haven't encountered that yet?
Not that I know of.
Oh, my God. That's a good point. What if we didn't know? Oh, shit.
All right. Let's talk about the music, shall we?
Yeah.
So how long has it been since Nomura left us?
Well, Nomura never left us, but...
Just kidding. Nobuo. Another N Japanese word. How long has it been, Schweiss?
Not,
FF11.
Okay, it's been a while. He's been gone, and we're coping, and we're finally saying, you know what? We can make music that's not just background music, not just background noise, with maybe one song that you're like, yeah, I could see this being good, and never listening to outside of the game. And with 13, I think they stepped it up a notch from 12.
You think so?
Yeah, as far as the soundtrack goes.
Heard a lot of people on our forums and such saying that they hate the fucking music.
Now, I do hate the vocal tracks in this game. I absolutely despise them, as I do for almost every other vocal track in a Final Fantasy game. They should be purged. But outside of that, there's some zany stuff. There's that one track that sounds like springs. It's like boing, 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 boing. But it's not annoying. It's kind of fun. I don't know. It doesn't really piss me off to the point that I'm like, Leona Lewis, get the fuck out. Get the fuck out of my game. There's never a time like that with any of the zany tracks. And even the one that's like, that's like weird. I mock it all the time. But I like it. It's like, yeah, it does that twice, and then it goes into this kind of, yeah, like it's fine. I don't know. And then the battle music, oh my God. The Bartandalus fights.
Oh, yeah.
The choir stuff. I will tell you, it gets old after fighting him like for the 7th time, but it's incredible.
I know. I still think the piece of music is awesome. I had to fight him a few times on one of the fights, and
it's intense.
It's cool, man.
And yeah, I think it's a pretty solid soundtrack. Not I don't know. Pretty solid for a game. Not quite as awesome as some of the other Final Fantasies, but I would put it above. And we love to rank, but soundtrack-wise, I did enjoy it more than 8's, I'd say.
Yeah.
And that was Naboo. There's nothing quite as...
So many people are just going to be like, fuck this podcast.
Hey, man.
Every time you say one bad thing about whatever they love, they leave you.
Yeah, that's true. That whatever. We ain't got time for that.
Look, man, I agree with you on a lot of the 8 soundtrack thing, and if people are curious, you can go listen to the Final Fantasy VIII review part 2.
Esthar theme
has
not been duplicated in horror.
Terrible. The music in Final Fantasy XII, they're always trying to have some kind of even though it's not, it's all synthesized, but orchestral kind of sound to it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying there? And I think it's the same with 11 and really all of them, except for FF10 had some electronic kind of score.
Yeah.
FF13 doesn't shy away from electronic score. And in fact, with the exception of like the Bartandalis fight with the choir stuff, it really stays within the electronica and the rock kind of area.
Yeah.
As far as the music is concerned. So it makes the music of this Final Fantasy game extreme. It's very unique. And it's very kind of like, it's instead of being really melody filled,
like 9s per se,
1 through 10, I would say.
Okay,
there's a lot of melody there. Or with FF12 where it's
atmospheric.
It's atmospheric. There is melody there, but it is atmospheric. This one is like beat filled.
Yeah. Oh, dude, the Chocobo theme, that drum solo in that
there
thing.
You go. There's an example.
It's
of that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's like Dave Lombardo drum solo just for like 2 minutes.
Now, I'm not going to say what type of music is better. I think the Final Fantasy XIII soundtrack really matched the game.
Yeah.
Very well. And certainly, like, you couldn't hear in that game at all. Like, you see that game and you wouldn't think, okay, Nobuo's soundtrack, like, you wouldn't really fit there. I mean, if Nobuo was the composer, he would find a soundtrack to fit that.
Oh, yeah, that's what he does, but you think it excels without him then?
I think it does just fine without him.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know or remember the names of the composers on this one. I think they did an okay job.
Yeah, I think they did a good
job. And there's a lot of tracks that I really love. The final musical piece, the like, everything kind of operatic in Final Fantasy XIII is just awesome. And
yeah.
I love that thing. And the boss music, I love. The regular battle music is sweet, or it's like the kind of hard rock. Dun, 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 like,
yeah, no, it was good.
It's awesome. I
rarely would find a moment where I felt the soundtrack was super lacking or frustrating. It was all at least good, I think. I don't know. There were some parts where I mock it, like the springs or the but it's all in good time. I think it fits.
Yeah.
That's
I think it's extremely good too, and I know people that don't like the soundtrack and I don't understand it.
Well, I still do hate the vocal tracks. Nothing will get me away from that. Now, the song at the end of the game, while I don't like, I will acknowledge is better than most of the songs at the end of the game. Although, they did get a pop singer to sing it from North America. So,
wasn't... no, listen, I think they actually just took a song off of her album.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
Leona Lewis, the My Hands thing.
There's the
Final Fantasy
ad for the CD in the booklet.
Final Fantasy XIII has a theme song, and they chose not to bring it over in the North American version.
Well, screw them, because the song at the end didn't fit. Is it bad?
It's not that the other one would fit either.
Oh, okay. Jesus. Because the 12 one didn't fit, the 13 one didn't really fit. It's just all over.
Yeah.
I don't know if Leona...
I guess Leona Lewis is British. We probably said she was American.
Is she?
I don't fucking know. I
have no idea. You can't really tell when they sing.
I don't listen to pop that much.
But no, it's not. Even then, though, it's less insufferable than some that we've experienced.
Yes.
So, yeah, you know,
I think Nobuo has higher highs, but also lower lows.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
All right. That's fair. I can't...
So I think 13 is a good solid soundtrack. I do think it's more memorable than FF12's or FF11's soundtracks.
Oh, yeah, I would say so.
Though, of course, the 7, 9, and 10 soundtracks are still like...
Yeah, those
are great.
Way
6's soundtrack is great. 1 through 5, they reuse a lot of the same tracks, but those are all great. And then their unique tracks are still good too. So
yeah.
So
not quite up to par, but still holds its own, I'd say, for sure. Holds its own on a higher level than some that I...
It's not the best.
No, but I mean, like you said, it's not really about being the ultimate soundtrack. It's more about fitting the game itself. And I think it does a pretty okay job of that. So I don't know. It's good. Yeah. Good shit. Yeah.
Totally cool with it. I don't know. We are entering into another realm as we go past this. I mean, we'll hit Nobuo Uematsu a couple times.
Yeah.
With these spin-offs and sequels and FF14. I think he has a theme song with it or something. But other than that, it's just no Nobuo.
Yeah, I'm sure the spin-offs he's involved in.
There's a couple of the old spin-offs. I think he, like Mystic Quest or something, he did the soundtrack
really
for.
Not Advent Children or anything like, or not Advent Children, Crisis Core?
I don't know on that one.
I'm not sure either. I think he was he even still there? It was like 06, 05. He might not have been. Oh, shit. Yeah, it might be over for old Naboo. Yeah.
That's too bad.
That is, that's way too bad.
Otherwise, though, I thought it was great.
All right, yeah, fair enough.
Shall we move on to
the legacy?
The legacy.
Quote, unquote. Yes, let's do it.
Actually, you know what? I think we should do questions first. Don't you think? Listen to some of our listeners.
Yeah, we could do that.
Questions? Okay. We'll save the legacy for last. Let's get to the questions.
All right.
All right, so our first question comes here from Shinru. What are our thoughts on Vanille's Ahem battle cry? He posted a little 15-second clip here. Let's take
Are you prepared for this, Joe?
I am.
All right, let's do it. It's so amazing.
Sounds like Halo's mom.
Yeah. Oh, that's sick, dude.
See you next time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, ma'am. And then I leave.
Nice. So he says he's never really used Eidolons unless he really needed to. And imagine his surprise when he had the volume extremely loud and this happened. People in the other rooms asked what I was watching. LOL. Yes, it's very strange.
Yes.
It is very odd. And I think the voice actress, she did say something about this being a very strange game to record for.
She was talking about how she was like doing, there's a scene where they're like digging or something like that, and that like she had to make like sounds.
Yeah.
Just the super high pitched shit with the, I don't know. It's funny. It's funny.
Like, it is. You are grunt. Yeah. I found it celebratory. I enjoyed.
Mm-hmm. And what are our thoughts on Lightning showing Fang her boobs?
Oh, wow. What is this?
Of course, Lightning's mark is on her chest.
Oh, yeah.
And there is a scene where she's like, Fang's talking about how on the symbol you can tell how long you have left. And you, of course, have to look at the symbol, and Lightning's is on her chest, and Lightning's looking down through a shirt, and then Fang's like, nah, let me see it. And then...
Why don't I remember that? I gotta see this again. Oh, it's 2.5 minutes long?
Yeah, want to know how long until it's Seath City? Just look at your brand. You start getting more arrows.
So she's
then
got her
finally
back
an eye.
turned. She
Oh,
zips
my
something
God.
down. She looks down.
Once it opens all the way, you're done. Let's have a look. Don't be shy.
Okay.
Nowhere near.
Yep.
Yeah. Nice.
I think it's strictly not sexual, but whatever.
No, it isn't at all. But we know how Fang is. So
All right. Let's take a look at the other ones.
ooh,
Yeah.
there are no
All
others.
right. No others. What are you talking about?
Yeah, dude, it's just this one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, look, there's the review, the question. That's it. They let us.
No. I got it right there. No, go back. Fucking right there.
Oh, your.
All right.
Ah, this is
there
I
we
thought you
go.
guys let us down. I was like, what the fuck, man? What do we not have any listeners anymore? Like, that is Nero. He's dirty.
All right. Cranital asks, what's your favorite place in the game?
Grand Pulse. It's very open and non-hallway.
Oh,
And I think it's gorgeous.
I like Orphan's Cradle.
Oh, that area is really cool, too.
That place is awesome looking.
What did you struggle with most?
Wow. Alcoholism. No. What did I struggle with most? Fucking when I was doing. I'll talk about it now. The accessories thing. Now, Caleb, as you heard, was the one to platinum the game, and I did not do quite as much stuff as he did in the game. And many of you know this. Many of you guys only listen to the review episodes, so I'll tell you the story now.
Once upon a time,
Joe looked up the trophies, the trophy lists, and he was looking up a trophy guide, and he simply saw the Lore Master trophy and that I had to, upgrade all my weapons.
Right.
And I said, okay. And so I got up a list on how to upgrade all the weapons, and I started to work on it. I had gotten to Grand Pulse, and I was under-leveled to fight the final boss because I rushed through it. And I was like, okay, I'll just do this now. I'll do my thing, and I'll level up this stuff. Now, you have to sell off certain items in order to get Gil.
Right. Gil's hard to come by.
Yeah, Gil is extremely hard to come by because the creatures don't drop it like they do in other FF games. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to talk about this.
It's very hard for him.
I noticed that a quick way to make money would be to simply optimize my defensive equipment, my accessories, and just sell off the rest.
Okay.
Yeah, considering all I had to do was upgrade my weapons, correct?
Yeah, sure. We'll go with that, yeah.
And so I upgraded all of Lightning's weapons up to their second tier. And then I started moving on to the next guys. And that's when I decided to just sell off the equipment because I didn't feel like, at the moment, I did not feel like upgrading all. Well, I didn't feel like going and killing a bunch of creatures in order to get all the stuff that I was able to sell before.
Right.
With the components that you're supposed to sell off. So I did just that. I sold off my accessories. And, I thought it was just fine. I saved the game, went to sleep. Next day, I go to school. And the class I have has some computers in it, and I got to school like 45 minutes early or whatever the fuck. And so I was just browsing online, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting near the part where I have to really go after these trophies.
Right.
And so I look at a guide again, and I see that it says the Lore Master trophy is the one that takes the longest, which is something I heard before. I just assumed, still takes the longest anyway.
Right.
I look at it, and then I see that it's got it's got a few paragraphs, and I start reading. And what I realize is that it's more than just upgrading weapons. It's also upgrading all the accessories. up to their full potential.
So then the panic hit of, is there anything missable?
So, well, actually, that panic hadn't hit yet, but I was like, oh no, what have I done? Because I have to like
buy them again.
I have to buy them again. That's what I thought first. And then on the post on the page, it says, make sure you do not sell any of the elemental rings.
Right, the aqua ring is the one.
Especially the aqua ring, because you only have, what was it, 2 more chances to get the aqua ring, and they were both in like treasure chests.
Yep.
That I have no idea if I had opened a treasure chest with the aqua ring in it, or it was like you could find the riptide ring and then rip it apart or whatever.
Yeah,
and then
dismantle
get
it.
the aqua ring from that. That was another way of doing that. That was, and I realized right then, I was like, it's going to take me an extra like 20 hours, not only to build up the gill, to get most of the rest of the accessories back and keep going with the upgrades, but also I have to find out if I, in fact, can get the aqua ring again. And apparently all the other elemental rings that are also really hard to get back. So I said, fuck it. I'm going to level up some and go beat the game. That was the biggest struggle, I think, was just the mental dealing with it, not wanting to, take the PS3, go upstairs to my room, open the window, push out the screen, and then just drop it. Just let it go and just let it right at the bottom on the road. I could have done that. I was feeling it. I felt I felt that way, and I was like, I'm a complete and utter fucking failure at this game.
Yeah, I didn't realize you didn't know that. And
no, and I should have known that. I really should have known that.
Well, that sucks. So I'm going to say the biggest struggle for me was...
Look at how you just shirk it off. Well, it sucks.
Yeah, it takes a certain kind of guy to get a platinum. But the thing...
Fuck you.
The thing that sucks for me is the exact opposite. Is the hell I put myself through to obtain that last trophy. That was some sick shit. A lot of grinding, a lot of killing the same guy.
Lore Master can go fuck itself.
Lore Master is insane. That is like my trophy. If I were to ever actually make a physical fucking copy of a trophy, it would be that and then a little platinum one next to it that symbolizes that, yeah, I threw 110 hours into that game. Why not? It was crazy, especially because some of the components I had to use on the items were 800,000 gil to make super ribbon. I had to level it up, and then so I had to spend money to level the fucker up, and then I had to spend money to make it into super ribbon. And I'm not talking a little bit of money. I'm talking either 800,000 gil, or I get a 5% chance off of these little bastards that are roaming the plane. So it was rough. But I cannot even imagine how much rage would have filled me if that trophy wouldn't have popped after I filled out my list. I was getting scared too. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go...
Like, what if there was something I missed?
Yeah, what if I accidentally checked one that I didn't quite make yet? I don't know which fucking one it is. Like, I would have no idea.
Because you sold it.
Yeah.
Oh.
I sold it for one, because after I upgraded them, the guide says, yeah, go ahead and sell them so you can use the gil, which is a great way to do it once you've done the upgrades, not before. And I was like, I'm just gonna destroy something. Like, just kick my walls down, rip off my 9-foot doors that we see behind us here, and just break them over my knee. But thankfully, I went and got the final upgrade, went and talked to the little Bhakti, the robot guy, and the trophy dropped. So,
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know how I feel about it. Like, kind of ashamed, kind of proud.
What's your favorite character?
Well, my favorite character in Final Fantasy XIII. I'm gonna go with Vanille, I think. Yeah, she used to be the really annoying character in my eyes, but she's not the really annoying character anymore.
Her voice is really annoying to me.
It is pretty annoying, but her awesomeness with the summon.
Oh, is a character as far as usefulness in battle, or
yeah.
wait, awesomeness with the summon, as in
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just close your eyes and
yeah. Just close my eyes again.
Okay.
Little Dreamweaver reference.
All right.
No, and then the death spell was amazing. I was able to rip off so many enemies with that thing, just casting death and the % chance that it'll work. She was really useful. I don't know, what about you?
My favorite character in battle was probably Lightning, because she had a good Ravager and then she had a good Commando, and that was really useful.
You know, Ravager is actually her best role.
That's what I heard, but unfortunately Fang doesn't have a good Ravager, so I felt like Lightning was the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Because I think Fang was the best Commando.
Oh, yeah.
As far as within the story, I actually... Everybody fucking hates him.
Is it Snow?
It is Snow.
Yeah.
Because I love Snow's positivity for everything. It's refreshing, and it's something that I do not share because, I do have a podcast on video games, and thus I am an extreme pessimist when
Yeah.
just about everything.
Would you say pessimist or would you say a cynic? Because I know,
Cynic.
I know I'm a cynic. I'm not really pessimistic. I'm just realistic.
I'm a cynic, and it is nice to see the complete opposite of that.
Yeah, and he's kind of right. Like some of the things he wanted to do, like
he does say Sarah a lot, and that gets on my nerves.
Yes, he does say Sarah a lot.
But I feel like Lightning is just unapproachable as a character. I don't know. Yeah, I still think Snow.
Oh yeah, she was moody as hell.
My least favorite character, which is what it's asking now, is probably Hope. Not that I hate Hope or anything like that. It's just that I don't know. It's kind of whiny, and Snow is innocent of anything, and so I just don't give a shit about Hope's struggle.
I would say Hope is probably my least favorite too, as far as the main party goes. He's just kind of a pussy about the whole thing for the first 10 hours. He's just super moody. It's like I'm watching, I don't know, Star Wars Episode 2 and watching Anakin go through his struggles, and I'm just like, God, I hate it. Oh, I hate that fucking kid. It's kind of like that. That's kind of how it made me feel.
Master.
Yeah. Killed the children.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, so bad. Best moment of the game. Ooh.
Orphan with Bartandalus kind of fused with it coming up.
Playing the little harp thing.
That is
Look at my arm harp.
That is epic.
Yeah, that final boss kind of reminded me of Nines as well.
The final boss, just everything is just epic.
Yeah.
I love it. Love it.
I'd say that's probably up there. That and the... Shit. Actually, I'd probably just say that.
Yeah?
Yeah, the other scene that was really cool is when they were coming back to Cocoon and they were doing that race thing, but then that part kind of takes me out of it. It looked really good, but I was like, I don't feel any connection to this. What are they, like NASCAR? Like, I have no idea what's happening here. So it was just kind of one of those things that their world does that's never really explained to me, so it almost takes me out of the epicness of the moment, but still a cool scene.
All right. Worst moment.
Worst.
Ciao.
That was pretty shameful. Yeah, I was bugged by that.
That was pretty bad.
Oh, fuck. Worst moment? Maybe the first time I saw the Shiva thing back in 2010. I was like, what the fuck, dude? What is this? I'm like, what did you do to this game to make this happen? Like, what led to this? 12 didn't lead to this. 10 didn't lead to this. It's just there. But this time, it was weird and kind of irritating, but it wasn't like just so off the chain that I was just like, I'm done. I'm out of here. I quit. Yeah?
They never bugged me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, dude. The worst part, though, is...
You and your summon worship.
I would say probably Hope's whininess and he's just got like an illogical hatred of of Snow, who is, yes, the dumb bro character, but he's a really good guy. So.
Sarah.
Yeah,
I wish we had a Sarah drop.
We really need one.
Oh,
actually.
man, we need it so bad.
Yeah, like a bunch of different Sarahs, too. Like
Sarah.
Like, all different drops, so we could just slam the Sarah.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Look, man, some people are into the petite, but...
obviously Snow is, because Snow's a fucking giant.
yeah, oh, God.
It's such a weird looking image, those two together. Oh, fuck, dude. Disgusting. Okay.
So, funniest part or moment... I'm going to go with the side quest of Cactar and Saz. That was pretty funny to me. Where the Cactar is like pissing him off, and then he just kind of runs off and goes off into the distance, and then he comes back and he's like, oh, it's you again. And he's just this giant Cactar that's making these weird, like, noises. He's like talking shit on him. That was pretty funny. I found Saz to be kind of comic relief for a good chunk of the game.
You're saying comic relief. I don't think 13 has that much humor in it.
Not really, but he's the guy that does make me laugh occasionally.
The funniest part to me is when Vanille gets her mark and it's like
on her thigh.
On her thigh, she listens. Oh, yeah, and then Snow goes, "Okay."
Yeah,
that one's that's a good exchange.
Yeah, that was funny.
That part made me laugh.
I laughed at that too. That was good.
So this next bunch of questions comes from Kafka Palooza. Did you find leveling up weapons useful? I use level 1 weapons and accessories to beat the game without upgrading. I am now at endgame, and I have started to toy with it, and I have seen little impact. Most attack seems to come from base stats rather than weapons. This is exactly the opposite of most of the other games where good gear was key and made huge impacts. Maybe I am doing gear wrong, though. And there are some kick-ass weapons I have yet to level up and create.
Okay.
The Marlboro from Vanille is a weapon that if you want to cast death on anybody and it to stick, is something that you need. As far as the rest of them, though, I think you're going to be the expert on this question.
The answer is yes. They are well worth it. After you get to a certain point, you get the Genji Glove, which allows you to do... Your max damage is then moved to, I think, 999,999, which you'll never hit. At least I don't think you'll hit unless you got some godly accessories in addition to that. But I was doing... I think 400,000 sometimes with my hits. Wow. Yeah, and if you don't have the ultimate weapons and you don't have Genji Glove, your max is going to be 100,000. And that's not going to cut it when the guys have 16, 18 million HP. Just their body, and you got to take out their friggin' legs first, too. So hang in there with the leveling. I wouldn't worry too much about it in the beginning, and kind of definitely look up some sort of guide if you're trying to go for the platinum or just go for the best stuff. The Belladonna wand turns into the Marlboro wand, and then Kane's lance is the final version of what's her face? Chick who uses the lance. Fucking drawing a blank for some reason. Fang? Yeah.
Okay.
Fang's weapon, and that's the taming pole. And then Lightning's... shit, what was Lightning's? I can't remember the first phase of it. Hers was
Omega weapon. Gladius?
Yeah, I think it might be a few of them that turn into it.
All of them turn into Omega if you...
Well, at the end, yeah. If you use the trap on them. Anyway, there's definitely good guides out there that'll help you with that for sure. And late game, it really does make all the difference. There's no way you're going to farm Adamantoise unless you...
I don't think on a usual kind of run through.
Yeah, I think he's going...
think it really does.
I remember him posting something about, man, the Crystallarium's going to take a while, isn't it? And I'm like, no, dude. Not the Crystallarium. That's nothing.
Cha-ching.
Yeah. That...
Unless you can buy...
the items.
The items with the Crystallarium points.
I wish I could convert that into gil. I would have sold every bit of it. I would sell characters off into the black market if I could, just to get my damn trophy. So yeah, I it's worth looking into and upgrading if you're going to try to platinum it.
How did you find Bartandalus as a villain? For me, he was a letdown. He wasn't as cool as other FF main villains like Sephiroth or Kefka. I almost pitied him more than hated him at the end. He was a super powerful godlike being, completely chained to his fate, trying to break out, and in the end, it felt like he wanted to die. I don't know if he wanted to die. I think all he cared about was the Fal'Cie agenda.
Yeah. I think he was an okay villain.
I think he was okay.
He wasn't fantastic, but he wasn't.
It wasn't fantastic because I still have no idea like what his motivation was. Like, why was he so mean? Like,
I don't know.
He was just kind of toying with you. So he does kind of feel shoved in there. I think Sid is the more evil guy.
Well, he's probably the antagonist.
Sid is the evil human character.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
He doesn't get much screen time.
Yeah, I'd say he's probably middle ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. He doesn't have quite the cool story of Sephiroth or Kefka, and
I don't even know if he's middle ground because the whole part of the story that doesn't make sense to me
is him.
Is him. Like, they all have to destroy Cocoon. We all know that. We've all accepted that they must destroy Cocoon, and then they're going to say, "Hey, we're not going to do that. We're not going to destroy Cocoon, but let's go kill Orphan, which destroys Cocoon."
Well, he wanted him to.
Thankfully, the real hero, Yag Roche, of this this game, evacuated everyone.
Yeah, he's the only one that did the truly right thing.
And Vanilla and Fang, of course, crystallized and stopped the planet from falling down. But still.
Yeah, I don't know.
Still.
He did want to, like we mentioned, he did want to bring on a new existence by summoning the creator. So that's what his motivation was. But I don't know. It just seems weird.
It's so weird.
I don't know.
It's like, who thought this? It's not very clear. I think that's the worst thing.
Yeah, and he's like randomly super evil, even though you're totally doing what he wants. I don't know.
Oh, this next question brings up something I did want to talk about. Do you feel the flashbacks before the incident were necessary? In other words, the 13 days before.
Right.
I mean, they looked cool, but a simple 2-minute explanation could have done the same thing as those 25 minutes worth of video. I do think they were necessary to flesh out characters more.
Yeah.
However, I think that the structure makes the game even more of kind of a clusterfuck of confusion.
Yeah, if I were to
the first time playing this through, even the second time, I was like, it's going everywhere.
Yeah, it does do that. I think if I were to redo 13, I would probably have those cutscenes at the very beginning of the game, and then something really intense happen, and then like Final Fantasy 13. Okay. And then the story starts where it does.
I would just let it start. And then those 13 days before, I would let them be played.
Yeah?
Yeah, and add a little bit of,
There is a little bit that you play. Or no, do you play the days?
You play Snow walking across a beach for a second.
For like
which, by the way,
minutes.
Was the part of the game that I thought was the most gorgeous part of the game.
With the sun setting?
Oh, yeah, with the sun setting. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Beautiful. Anyway, I would just let the game... I would start it out kind of, you know how Final Fantasy VIII kind of starts where they're just kind of in their world. They're just, it's a regular day, basically. I mean, it's a little, he's got to go take the field exam or whatever.
Well, it's a regular day except for the intro.
But it's not like, it's not like the most intense bullshit introduction or whatever.
Well, the fight is.
I think a slow build could have been helpful with 13. That way you could get all the explanation beforehand. So I would have liked to actually just play those characters
and relive the moments.
Between all those cutscenes. Maybe to add some gameplay features to it. Lightning decides to retire. You could like play her doing her job for a little while, and then you can like go off in these other paths.
Yeah,
and then you can find out Sarah is a Lassie, and then it becomes something. And then it goes on from there, and it becomes a linear story instead of going non-linear and making a very complex plot even more complex because you're not taking the time.
That's true.
To go through that stuff. So I think they were necessary, and I think they actually should have spent more time with them. So that's what I'm going to say, Kefka Palazzo.
Necessary, but poorly executed then.
I think so.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I think playing it and seeing exactly what takes place with becoming a lessee, I don't know, it would have made it a little less confusing, I guess, especially the first time through. All right, so we have one here from Stolas. I said, if you had the choice, would you have preferred Type 0 been the main FF13 title? That entails that Type 0 would get the main franchise treatment, better fleshed out story, characters, aka not taking multiple playthroughs to get to understand the story, and made the battle system closer to turn-based rather than action RPG. If you haven't played it, I guess watch trailers and make a selection. He feels like Type 0 generally has a better story and a concept than 13. Also, no awkward Shiva scissoring.
Ain't nothing awkward about that.
Yeah. I don't know enough about Type 0 to truly answer that.
I can't answer that either.
And I know the intro to Type 0 is probably the most confusing thing I've ever fucking witnessed.
Oh, fuck.
But
there's like 6 narrators for that opening video.
It's
like,
the
what the
weirdest
fuck's
thing,
up with that?
They're like Final Fantasy Type 0, and then like another little intro.
And then the foul sea didst attack.
Yeah,
Behold,
it's weird.
I only watched it once, so.
But we will get to that, and maybe we'll revisit this question when we do. I think that would be fair.
I tell you what, when we get to Type 0, re-ask this question.
Yes.
Please.
We will hit it up.
Okay. Our last question here is from Shinru. And this is, of course, the question.
Did we always get asked?
Okay,
Sure.
What was the hardest boss for you? And let's not talk about hunts. We all know what the hardest hunt for you was.
Yeah.
What was the hardest boss?
I might agree with him. The Sid Reigns fight was really hard for me.
Okay.
I know you dominated him in the first try, but
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't do it. He says Sid Reigns was actually harder than the final boss, which, yes, just about anything is harder than the final boss. He says, just me, or does the final form, Sid Reigns, vaguely resemble Safer Sephiroth with those wings?
It does.
Yeah. Another hard boss was the Vanille Eidolon battle. That was very difficult for me. That was probably the hardest Eidolon battle I had.
It is the hardest Eidolon
It
battle.
was tough, man.
I think it's the latest one.
I think it is. It's the final.
So it kind of,
A nice send-off for him.
they got to make it really rough.
Yeah, they're like, we don't want to give the last one easy.
The hardest boss. The hardest boss for me. I mean, Bartandalus was pretty hard. I think the first time you find him. I remember.
Yeah, we died a bunch of times. Yeah. He was rocking us.
That was pretty fucking hard. The one that made me most frustrated, I can't remember the name of it, but it's when they're in Hope's house.
Yeah,
and then the army attacks, and then the ship comes down, and it has like 4 different sides on it, and they're all like, they're like taking your health down like crazy. Now, I know you did it in one try.
Yeah.
I did not. I did it in many, many, many tries. That's what happened.
Yeah,
and it was horrible.
I feel like I did it in one try because you told me it was going to be tough. So I was like, all right, well.
So I'm going to strategize the fuck out of it.
I'm going to set it up beforehand so that I don't die a bunch. And then you got like pissed, man. You're like on the stream, like, screw you. You got all these people helping you. And that's bullshit. That guy was sick. I'm out of here. Like, geez, dude. But yeah, we had the same thing with the Sid fight. I get dominated 5 or 6 times, and I'm not talking early stage death. I'm talking this little bastard has nothing left, and he's like, oh yeah, by the way, ultimate move, you're gone.
You're dead.
Yeah, so it's kind of a flip flop. I don't know. Maybe they just are more for us. I have no idea. But yeah, that ship did a lot of damage. I do remember that.
What do you think of the final boss in the final dungeon?
Oh, the final dungeon is amazing looking in this game. The level gap is atrocious and kind of makes you go back to Grand Pulse for sure, I would say. I don't know how in God's name you could get there and then be like, yeah, this is fine. I'll just walk on. And I think the layout of the final area was super cool. The design, the like platforms that move around and all of that. I thought it was a really very solid final dungeon area.
It's like, it's trippy.
It is, yeah.
Going in there, and like I think it looks really cool.
Yeah, and the final boss looks awesome also. He looks super freaky, and he's got that weird fucked up arm that's like playing
and
the
like
harp.
The one-sided, like how they're looking at you with one side of their face.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome.
And the voice, it's like a female voice and a male voice at the same time is, of course, always freaky sounding.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that is cool shit.
Yeah,
that is cool shit. Orphan was just amazing. And I think I've seen some people comment that it was kind of like FF9 where the boss was suddenly what the boss was.
Yeah.
I don't think it was as sudden because they talked about Orphan the entire time.
I feel like if
someone actually fucking mentioned Necron,
maybe you would have not. Maybe you'd feel the
maybe
same
we wouldn't
way.
all have the problem that we do with that.
I think the style of the final guy resembled him a lot, though. Like
Style
the moves
did,
he
yeah.
would do.
It's reminiscent of it. It doesn't look exactly like him at all.
No,
but
not even close. But the one move that dominates all but
it's got
one
that
health.
kind of flavor.
Yeah.
The crystally kind of.
Yeah, I would say
Evil.
it was good.
And did you grind at the special place in the final dungeon against those 3 guards near the end of the area? They give the most CP of all the enemies in the game. No.
Not all the enemies, my friend.
That's yeah. There was one guy, I think it was like 30,000 CP, and if you were just on diversity the whole time, just holding X, we could kill him.
It was 30,000, really?
It was like 30,000 CP, and I was like, why wasn't I grinding here?
Oh.
But I couldn't get past one of the random enemies in that final dungeon. I rushed myself to get there. Any other dungeons in the game that you enjoyed? Any music tracks that you particularly liked aside from the awesome battle theme? Well, the awesome boss battle theme was.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of covered that.
And
But
I said the ending theme. Yeah, that's all good.
extra dungeons.
The place with all the electronic stuff. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's in Pulse. When you go.
With all the robots?
Yeah, with all the robots.
The robots?
Yeah. I thought
The area that you can't get back to.
I thought that dungeon was really cool.
Yeah, that one was pretty cool. And then you had to like go activate turn on the engines or something like that. There's some little mini game you had to do.
Yeah, something.
Yeah, that area was pretty cool looking, and I don't know, it's just a nice contrast with the bright electronic stuff going on in the night sky, and that one was cool. Other than that, though, I don't even know, man.
They're all cool areas.
Yeah, the areas
I don't think
are
there's a single
gorgeous.
area in Final Fantasy 12 where, unlike 13, excuse me, unlike Final Fantasy 12, where it's like, well, this is a step climate and this is a slightly different step climate.
Yeah.
Even though Final Fantasy 12 are great areas too. FF13 is very good at all the areas are unique, and I think they all look great.
I really liked the area that the forest area that Saz and Vanille were into. That area was really cool looking.
Not that it's a dungeon, but you know,
No, I mean,
great stuff.
anything's essentially a dungeon. It's just an area.
You
that
can't
you're
get
in.
out if that.
Yeah.
You can't travel. Oh God. All right. So we got some questions here from Twitch.
Oh, okay.
So you want to answer a couple of those?
Yeah, let's pull them over here.
Okay.
All right, so this question comes from Anthony Walker 1427. A loyal moderator on the Twitch stream. He says, do you think Saz got some garbage time storyline action with the hunts like Cactar and Gigantar? He seemed to get screwed over with the main storyline a bit.
Garbage?
I'm not sure if that's
Time
a typo.
storyline action.
I think he's meaning like, do you feel like they get a little more? Does he get more with the side quest? In which, yeah, I think so. And I don't know. Like I said, I kind of liked Saz, so he's kind of funny a little bit.
I think he got plenty of main
Yeah,
storylines.
There's a lot of stuff with this kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was fine, and I did enjoy the side quest for that. That was one of the ones that I specifically talked about. And yeah, fair enough, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right. I guess we only had one question in Twitch stream. Oh wait, one last question. Caleb, could you repeat it?
Yeah, this is also from Anthony here. He said, if you had to change one aspect of the game, what aspect would it be?
If I were to change one aspect of the game, as I kind of stated before, I would change how they told the story. I would start earlier.
Okay.
I wouldn't have a story start out with just like sudden chaos and then have a bunch of flashbacks to fill in.
Yeah.
I would just start before the flashbacks begin with normal kind of everyday life and then have all hell break loose.
Okay. Yeah, it kind of has a
If I were to change one major thing in the game, if like they had a story meeting and I came in there and I was like, let's do this.
Yeah. Let's not have a chaotic beginning like 12.
Yeah.
Let's make it rein it in a bit. Tell the story and then chaos, so you actually feel.
Well,
that it comes
you
from
can't.
somewhere.
You can do like a chaotic prologue or something like that. I'm not sure if it works in this situation with this game and the story with it. Unless you did like the war that happened before with Ragnarok, so we knew what fucking Ragnarok was later on.
Yeah.
You might be able to do that. But Final Fantasy XII does start out with Vaughn just in his home doing his thing.
Well, after the war cutscene.
After the 12 minutes, yes.
True. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'd kind of change that, and I would restructure the battle system a teeny bit. Just make the roles make a little more sense. They're not going to crowd around the tank, and I'm not going to have to worry about getting hammered with AoE attacks. I think that's the one thing that probably made me the most upset about the game. It was just its relentless way of screwing me over at any turn in some of those fights.
Now let's talk about the legacy of the game.
Okay.
So, you had Final Fantasy 1, and then 2, and then 3. Then you got all the way up to Final Fantasy X. And those first 10 games, or I would say actually the first 9 games had a very specific formula for each of the games. Now, 10 came in with its voice acting and its cutscenes and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
And it changed how we kind of viewed how Final Fantasies kind of worked. And then 11 fuck you. Don't fucking pull that shit.
Why not?
Don't do it. All right. And then 11 came in and it was completely different. Do it.
Trumpets.
Do it. I want to hear it.
This is the 11. Compression.
MMO, it's like crazy. And then Final Fantasy XII is like, well, we kind of need to blend the two together. Final Fantasy XII decided, okay, well, let's do kind of an MMO thing, but it's still a single player Final Fantasy, and it has voice acting. It's like FF10 in that way. And then it did this thing. FF13, it's almost like they said, okay, let's not think about FF11. Let's only take one aspect from FF12.
Okay. You know what I think they came in and thought?
What?
Real heroes don't need plans.
That's what I think they came in and thought.
What are you saying, Schwab?
No, I'm kidding. I just felt like dropping yet another drop.
I think that 13 serves much better as a sequel to FF10 than it does a sequel to FF12.
Yeah.
I think it's very close to FF10 in feel and in style and in the way the story is told. I think it's a lot closer to FF10 than any of the others. Now, I know it was the same major group of people working on FF13 that also worked on FF10. It wasn't the FF12 team, and it was definitely not the FF11 team. It was the FF10 team that worked on FF13.
Yeah, it was the same talent.
Yeah. So there's a reason why it kind of has that feel. And in that case, FF13 is almost like a callback to FF10 in a way, or like, oh, we remember what the FF games are kind of like in that sense. However, changing things like, I don't know, healer or white mage into medic, that throws people off, I think.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't know. It doesn't really bug me. I know what the white mage is, so I'm not like, oh, medic. I can't play this game.
And the battle system is completely different from the other Final Fantasy games. in the way you're strategizing.
Right.
The menu system is still intact, and it's almost like a random battle, but not quite. And so in that way, it's got a lot to do with the old Final Fantasies, and yet, Schweiss.
Well, the old as in 10.
When people who haven't played Final Fantasy XI talk about the black sheep of the Final Fantasy series, what game do they usually say?
8.
Okay, that's unfair.
Okay, the other one's 13.
And why is that?
It's different. I mean, the style of battle is different. The summons are different. The futuristic look is different. I don't know.
I don't think it's that different.
Really?
I don't know why people think it's a black sheep.
Well,
it has a full battle menu system or whatever the fuck. You got treasure chests. You got a very linear story. Okay, fuck all the people who say that all the other Final Fantasies were like this amazingly open game and that 13 was the linear one. We played FF10. We played FF9. We know what linear means. In fact, I would say FF9 is extremely linear in its storytelling. Now, there is a point when you can go wherever the fuck you want, and 13 only lets you go to like three places.
Yeah,
it lets you go at the end of the game. So in that sense, it's a little different. And certainly no other Final Fantasy puts all of its story in one spot of the game and then completely opens up the rest of it. So in that sense, it's different too. But all the elements are there. The cactuar, the tonberries, hunts from Final Fantasy XII. In a way, there's what Final Fantasy IX only really had 2 side quests, and Final Fantasy XIII only really has 2 side quests. So I don't know, man. There's a full group of characters. They have a quest. There's a bad guy that stops them every once in a while, or fights them every once in a while. Bartanilus is definitely not trying to stop them.
No, he wants to spur them along.
He does want to spur them along. There's an awesome final boss with a unique final boss music to go along with it. There's a annoying ass theme song at the end.
Yeah, it does follow suit with a lot of the things.
What the fuck? Why is it the black sheep?
I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. I still feel like it's one of them.
It's got the futuristic feel, but FF7 has a futuristic feel.
Not quite to that extent, though.
No, not quite to that extent, but I can say you can watch Advent Children and then watch Final Fantasy XIII being played, and you can be like, okay, yeah, same series.
Yeah. I could see that.
So I have no idea.
Well, I think it is easily the most linear in the series.
It's the most linear, yes.
Because it doesn't, and I know 9.
But I think there are other games that come close to it.
9 is pretty
9
linear.
Is one of them.
I mean, you have wiggle room, so to speak. You've got room to wiggle, but
FF9 pretends that there's wiggle room.
You
but
can't
really,
actually leave.
You can only enter one area, so you just get on the world map and go, oh, it's all open, but really there's only one place you can go.
Yeah, it's the illusion of open worldness that we've talked about, but I don't know. 13 has less of that, I feel, except for when you get to Pulse, obviously.
It doesn't give you the illusion.
Yeah, it doesn't. It just accepts the fact that this is a hallway, Hallway Simulator 2010, and this is what you're playing. Yeah. It focuses more on the story than the open worldness.
Yeah, and that's apparently what they wanted to do. They wanted to tell a compelling story. Now, I'm not sure if the story was as compelling as they wanted it to be.
Yeah.
I think, we already talked about the story, but
I think the speed of it.
That's what they were going for, was just like, okay, let's move on. Let's get to the story, because story is like, well, after graphics, story is number one.
Yeah. Story is the other number one. Yeah, that's true. And I don't know. It's just, it is different. It's different in that it's kind of got a heavily political kind of thing for part of it, with the
genocide and
with all of that good stuff. The mass killings, and I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure why it's such a black sheep, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But it does feel off compared to some of the others. And I don't know. I can't really place my finger on it.
Yeah, but doesn't 6 or 7 feel off to 6?
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Yeah. It's a totally different dimension. It has different look to it. But yet it's still Final Fantasy. And we accept both those games.
It is. It's the...
No, it's not as good as either of those games.
Well, no, but that's obvious.
So, I don't know why it has that kind of... I don't know why people think of it in that way as like the Final Fantasy game that really failed. But the internet, I don't know, maybe it's just the height of the internet, being the bashing machine that it is, that tends to take whatever is popular and not perfect, and tends to just attack it ruthlessly. I think 13 is just a victim of that.
There's that, and it's also not as critically acclaimed as the others in the series either. It's got the lowest Metacritic rating out of the last big chunk of games we played.
do have to wonder how many of those were from reviews when it just came out versus aggregate reviews after a little bit of time.
I know a lot of people didn't like it at all when it first came out. There was a lot of hate.
That's true.
A lot of people still bought the thing, but and I've seen articles recently just looking up stuff on Final Fantasy XIII that are like 10 reasons why it sucked before, but it's good now.
What?
Yeah, there's articles like that are like...
Fuck the internet.
I don't know. Maybe it's a timepiece. But, yeah, it's definitely not got the brightest legacy out of the series.
No, I think most people think of it as, besides Final Fantasy II, I think most people think of it as the worst game.
Yeah?
For you who are confused, when I say Final Fantasy II, I mean Final Fantasy II.
Not 4.
Not 4. That's generally thought of as the worst game.
Yeah.
But FF13, maybe it's just seen as the most disappointing game.
I don't know. I think 12 got...
12 has a lot of that too.
Yeah, but it's... I don't know. It's a little different with that one, though. It's still critically acclaimed.
Right.
13, they just bashed it. I don't know.
So, yeah, it's got a tainted and tarnished legacy. One that I don't necessarily understand because I don't even think it's in the bottom kind of side of the main series. I don't think it's in the top either. So I don't know what to say. Like, I don't think it makes sense. And I think that, well, here's an idea. Most people have only played 7, 10, and then tried out 13.
And 13 is one of the most available Final Fantasies, too.
Yes.
You gotta remember that.
Yes.
Newer gen, Steam, Xbox 360, PS3. That might be it.
Yeah.
I don't know, 7 and 10, although it is pretty close to 10.
Fourth biggest, but the worst... Fourth biggest, but the worst reviewed recently?
Yeah, recently. As far as the main series goes,
Yeah.
yes. It's like in the 80s, mid-80s.
Okay.
Which isn't bad. I mean,
I guess it's just, I think it's the disappointment factor. I don't think the game is in itself, even in comparison to the 12 games that we have now played in a row against it, I don't think that 13 is nearly as bad as people think.
So you're agreeing with Void at A Green Mushroom, him and his blog.
He ranked it really high.
It was really high, yeah.
And we'll get to the rankings in a little bit. But yeah, most people do think of this game as a bad game. And I would like to say that I'm going to guess here, and I'm going to guess correctly. Most of those people that really hate this fucking game never finished it.
Yeah, I didn't finish it before.
They got through, they went through and they were bogged down by the story, and then they got to Grand Pulse and they just said, fuck this game. In fact, I know 3 people in my life who have done that.
Including myself.
Including you.
That's how it was.
So, and I'm like, well, I've played it and finished it, and honestly, I'm still the only person I know besides you now who has played it and finished it that I just know.
Yeah,
In my personal life.
I don't think Caleb is anywhere near finishing.
A lot of people have played it though. It's like, oh yeah, I played 13.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's just too fast for some people.
Maybe.
It adds a different sort of element.
I think
to
the
it.
gameplay's great.
Yeah, no, I think that's the biggest praise that I have for the title.
Yeah.
It's the speed and the action-packedness of the battle system.
Now there's a small group of people out there whose first Final Fantasy was Final Fantasy XIII. And if you read like YouTube comments, now I know YouTube comments are like the garbage heap of the world.
Yeah, it's like 4chan just.
But if you read YouTube comments on like Final Fantasy XIII videos, you're gonna see comments like that are trolling the videos saying, "Oh, worst game ever." And I'm like, why are you watching fucking Final Fantasy XIII videos and commenting on them?
Yeah.
Like, why is that what your life has gone to? But then you see other comments on there that are like, "Oh, this was my first Final Fantasy. It really got me into the series," or "Oh, I really love this game. I haven't played any others or whatever." And I'm like, there's a small group of people out there, because I guess it was the first FF on the PS3. There's going to be people out there whose first game system is going to be the PS3, the younger generation of people.
Yeah.
And they might have played Final Fantasy 13 and they'd never seen anything like it before, because there's really not that much like it. And they said, okay, this is for me. And then they explore the Final Fantasy series from there. And those people exist. And the people who also said, hey, this game's not that bad, and I'm one of them, those people exist too, but they're definitely the minority.
Yeah.
At least in the realm of the internet, which is, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, I had the same. Oh, this was year 12 to me. This is the game that came out, that you had the money, you had the ability to purchase it when it was new, and midnight release. This was your first midnight release game. So you have that sort of connection to it, and I'm certain that there are others that have that as well. And, someone new getting into the series, I could see it. It's not, I don't know, there's other games that have much better stories and are way less bogged down, but there's not a ton of RPGs, if that's the genre that you're interested in, that really feel like this game. So, I don't know. I'm hit and miss. I don't think it's quite as bastardous as some make it, though.
Yeah. Well, you were ready to drag it down to hell. If people listen past the last 2 months in the background, yeah, you were ready to dig it an early grave. So this is an incredibly positive Caleb Schweiss, I'm hearing.
Yeah. Well, just wait. I haven't ranked the thing yet.
Oh. What are you saying?
I'm saying that...
you haven't ranked the thing yet?
No, I haven't.
All right. Well, we're going to read a couple of reviews from our loyal...
listeners here?
Our loyal listeners here. So let's hear... let's hear Final Fantasy through their eyes.
All right. So this one's from Judge Gabrant, who is awesome. Always helping out on the 13 stream and got a lot of knowledge.
Judge Gabrant is awesome, and I think this episode is dedicated to him.
Oh, yeah? And all of his help?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
At least the first half.
He says he thinks 13 is a very underrated game and overly bashed. It's probably in the middle of the FFs in greatness, and for a trilogy, he personally has it at 5 or 6, depending on the mood. Story is great once you learn the terminology. Characters are well developed, but some are annoying, like Hope. Gameplay may be his favorite. Visuals are aesthetically gorgeous, and the music, I would say, is just different. There are like 3 tracks he really loves, and the rest are not memorable. I'll give you a top 10, although I've played every FF except 11. 4, 6, 7, Tactics, 13, Trilogy, 14, haven't finished, but it's earned its spot. 10, 12, 5, and 9.
Wow.
I assume that's...
Wait, which direction is that going? Is 4 his favorite, or is 9 his favorite?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think it's 9.
So to me, Judge Gerbrandt just listed off a bunch of Final Fantasies.
Maybe it's just top 10, yeah.
I have no idea.
That's all right. That's a respectable top 10.
He included Tactics, so I guess it's not just including the main series Final Fantasy games.
So he's a really big fan of the series, though. Throughout the stream, I've noticed he does enjoy it.
He does enjoy Final Fantasy XIII?
Yeah, I think he likes it more than 12, as far as the series goes.
All right, this one's from Shinru, of course. He says, I went into FF13 with 0 expectations. They were very, very low, since all I'd heard by everyone was that the game sucked, despite the game receiving high reviews and selling millions of copies worldwide. It was going to sell millions of copies anyway, Shinru.
It's true.
Yeah, it was so hyped at the very least. Maybe that's it. Maybe it was just too hyped, and then it just turned out to be like a middle
overpromised, underdelivered.
Maybe. Maybe. I started playing it and was hooked, beat it and loved it, and decided to never ever let anyone tell me a game sucks without trying it for myself. Well, we're here to tell everyone how we feel about games.
Yeah.
So that hurts, Shinru, but I'm glad you listened to the podcast. Actually, play the games yourself, make your own decisions. Or come up with your own opinions.
Right.
I felt the battle system was the fastest and most fluid, exciting battle system to date. I would love to see it mix with FF5's job class system so that we could have a fast battle system in 13, but with a lot of jobs and stuff to choose from like FF5, and maybe even switch in other job classes or something. Who knows? FF16?
Maybe.
At first, I thought Vanilla and Hope were super annoying, and I only cared about lightning and snow. Then when Fang came along, she became one of my favorite characters in the game. As the game went on, I grew to like Vanille and even Hope a little too. Saz is great, and along with Vanille, he is probably one of the darkest stories in this game, and Vanille's especially help you understand why she acts a certain way so you can stop hating on her. Or at least I did after I learned all she went through. Still think Hope was too annoying early on, and he kept it up too long, even though I understood where he was coming from. I wish he would just get over it already. Thankfully, in the sequels, he is a much better character. The game is also one of the most challenging of the main series FF games in terms of difficulty in the main storyline. Sure, games like FF10 might have bonus bosses that are hard, but FF13 has normal enemies that can kill your party in just a few seconds. I enjoyed the game, and I felt it became very strategic as it went on, and paradigm shifting on the fly and having all sorts of stuff set up. It was just fun. Fang and Vanille obviously have a relationship, and at first you think it's just a good friendship, but as it goes on, you can see they clearly care about each other more than that, and it seems to be on a level of love, or at least this is how I interpreted it. What did you guys think? You want to zoom in for me on there? Could you press the control button? Thanks, buddy. Okay, that's good.
Well, we think it existed. I mean...
I think it's just a fantasy. That's what I think.
Really? Dude, come on.
Yeah.
It's obvious.
The Final Fantasy. The Final Fantasy would include lightning.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That would be...
and a girl named Jill.
Yeah.
Not
Tiny
dead.
tie.
Yeah.
I do enjoy that tie.
She's got to leave the tie on.
Yeah. Just the tie.
I understand that people pick on FF13 for being a hallway, but coming from FF10, I feel like FF13 is just a continuation of the FF10 hallway, and at least FF13 has a large area near the end, whereas 10, for the most part, is all linear path to the end, but at least it has towns. Lol.
Yeah.
FF11 and FF12 received complaints for being too big and open, so I can understand why they felt they needed to make the game less open for exploration. That's something I've said before, actually, is like they had to make up for FF12 being too big.
Yeah. Well, I mean, since when is
And
Square...
so like people were like, I don't really care about the story because, you hardly ever see the story because the areas in between are just huge.
Yeah, but I mean, when is Square Enix giving a fuck about what people have said?
Oh, they give a fuck now.
They do with the 2.0 demo. But,
yeah, they fucked up on 14.
Yeah, that's true.
So bad. They
is
care. They care now.
Yeah.
You hearing me, Square Enix? My biggest annoyance is that just like all the FF games since FF9, this game is missing an airship that you can fly around, and some people might say the story is one of the weaker ones, but I still enjoyed it, and I made sure to read every data log as soon as I got them in the game. Ooh, man, Jesus, dude. So I felt like I did a lot of reading and understood the story, and a lot of people I know never even bothered to read them, so I then helped them understand some stuff which they missed. I never read them either.
Yeah, I didn't read them this time.
Did you read them before?
Yes.
How do you feel about it not having an airship?
Yeah,
I mean, we haven't. Yeah, it's been a little while since we had an airship,
Yeah.
so it's like we just assume.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
FF11 did have an airship or airships.
Yeah, it's not quite the same though.
I enjoyed the variety in the areas, and some places like Taijin's Tower even mixed up the gameplay a bit and added puzzle elements and stuff, which I thought was a nice change and something that all the older FF games did a lot.
Yeah.
The CG cutscenes are amazing and still look good today, and I really like the final cutscene, and though it looked really cool and explained the FF13 logo, which is also cool. Not gonna lie, I was among those that got emotional the first time of my playthrough when My Hands by Leona Lewis started playing and Fang and Vanille saved the world by turning into Ragnarok. I understand if you guys hate that part or the song though.
Well, we're glad you understand.
Okay, I'm glad you understand and we understand you. It's I understand. I understand, although I can never feel.
We know what human emotion is,
Yes.
even if we cannot experience.
Yes. The part that the first time playing through this game, not so much this time, that I got, I felt a little bit of, I didn't cry or anything, but I felt, a little something. That sounds sexual.
Yeah, it does.
But it's not. That's when Fang is getting beat around by the Falsey or the Seath.
Yeah.
At the end, I was like, "Ooh, that's rough," and that's the part where I was like, "Okay," that's when I started feeling something. But the end is the end.
Yeah.
That brings me to the music where FF12 failed. Was that it didn't have enough memorable music like FF10 did. I think FF13 has a lot of memorable and great tracks, and the boss theme and battle themes are some of the best ones. And some of the music that plays in different areas like Pulse are really good too. I enjoyed the musical score for this game a lot, even if Nobuo Uematsu wasn't involved. I beat the final boss on my second try. It took me like 8 times to finally beat Sid Reigns, and no, I didn't use the cheap method.
Not sure what that is.
Method?
I don't know. It sounds amazing, though.
Oh, I wish I knew the cheap method for killing Sid Reigns.
Yeah. Oh, wait, you did anyway.
I did it in one try.
Go fuck yourself.
FF13 is also the biggest FF for the 10 to 16-year-old demographic, and for many kids, it was their first FF. So it was an important game in the history of FF for all the new fans it brought into the series. Welcome, new fans, to the series.
Yeah,
by the
welcome.
way. I have a feeling that some people, some kid out there is listening to this show. And he's thinking about, he probably doesn't have the money to like get the systems or buy the games or whatever, and he's thinking about going back, or someday he'll play the old Final Fantasies. And to that kid I say, let's just do 6, 7, and 10, and then decide if you want to go. Okay.
The best part of the night.
Is this the best part?
It is my favorite part.
Is your favorite part is ranking the game?
Yeah. More than even playing the game. I'm like, ooh, the list. It's all for the list.
Oh my god.
The movies, the games. Ah, yes.
I don't rank movies.
No, but we watch them from a list.
That's true, we do. And then there's our list of, man, I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, we've played so many fucking games in a row.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, we've played 13 games in a row. That's what happens, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. So your list at number 7, or excuse me, at number 1, you have number 7, I have number 6.
Mm-hmm.
At number 2, you have number 6, and I have number 10.
Yes.
At number 3, you have number 10, and I have number 7, which was your number 1.
Yep.
So our top 3 are the same, just in different order. Following our top 3, 12 is your 4th favorite game?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's high. 9 is my 4th favorite game of the series. But 9 is your 5th.
Yeah.
Okay? And I have 5... and then he has 5, and then I have 12. We both put 8 as the kind of
middle grounder.
What is that? The right in the middle there. Below 8, we both have 4. Below 4, we both have 11. Below 11, we both have 2, 3, and then 1. So you are 7, 6, 10, 12, 9, 5, 8, 4, 11, 2, 3, 1, and I am 6, 10, 7, 9, 5, 12, 8, 4, 11, 2, 3, 1.
Yes. I don't know why you didn't do that in the first place, but that is the ranking.
Look, man, I'm just trying to add a little bit of drama here.
A little bit of flavor.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it tastes like shit.
Fuck you.
Okay. Where are you going to put 13?
Oh, jeez, dude.
This is tough.
Here's the thing. It doesn't even come close to 6, 7, 10, 9. I don't think it's better than 5. Now, the real question is, for me, I know it's better than 1, 2, 3. I know it's better than 11.
Yeah.
I think it's better than 4. Maybe. So I want it right in the middle there. So 12, 8, and 4 are my middle guys.
Okay.
And I don't know where I should put it. But let me think about this a little bit.
Okay.
I think 13's gameplay is better than any of those 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
So based on that, I'm going to put it above 4. But let's talk about story for a little bit. 8 has a shitload of plot holes.
Yes.
And 12 has a failed story in many aspects, although there are definitely a lot of cool parts of 12.
Yes, the ending was amazing.
Oh, shit. 8's gameplay, however, is not that great in balance with its... Although I think 8 does have a better story than 13, even with all of its flaws. 13 might have more flaws in the telling of the story.
Okay.
But 12's story is, although not perfectly executed, it is genuinely solid for a game. Okay? I'm going to put 13. Oh, that hurts. Hold on. I'm not sure if I want to put it above 8. Oh, fuck, dude. Oh, it hurts.
He's in physical pain over here.
Oh, it's like even with it.
It can't be even, Joe. It's got to be above or below.
Fucking shit, dude. This is rough. Oh, no, dude. I don't know if I want to put it in between 12 and 8 or in between 8 and 4. This is rough.
Yeah, hardest decision you've had to make on the
Is
ranking?
13 better than Final Fantasy VIII? Or is it worse than Final Fantasy VIII? Shit. You know what? 8 had that whole thing with the fucking junction system. Okay. It's going right there. Junction system just came up in my head and I went, oh, nope.
Really that above the
It's not that it's the level. It's the leveling up with the junction system. That's the worst. That's the most atrocious sin that a Final Fantasy game has made past FF2.
And 8's didn't actually lead anywhere, whereas 2's led to an amazing system brought in by Western RPGs.
Sure.
They use it and get better at it.
Yeah.
Just horrible.
8's leveling up is just rough.
Yes, it is.
Okay. I have placed Final Fantasy XIII slightly under Final Fantasy XII.
I'm blown away by that.
And slightly above Final Fantasy VIII. Now, I said before that I thought 13 was a better game than 12, but having recently played 12 in this playthrough, and then recently just played 13, although I do think they're about the same quality, I think 12 is just a slightly more solid game. Okay. And I never thought I would say that.
I never thought you'd say that either.
And there's so many months and months and months of, of episodes here detailing in which I was like, fuck you and your FF12. And now I still say there's a lot of shit of 12 I hate. But I think 13's story, it didn't work for me as well this time. I think I was more involved the last time I played FF13. I think I was much more into the story than this time. And I don't know why that is. I don't know. It just didn't work as much for me this time. I can say that I liked 13 better the first time. The second time, I still liked it, but not quite as much. So, considering that this is not a review about how we used to feel about the games, this is a review about how we see the games in a row and how they fit within the series, 13's just below FF12. I'm sorry, 13.
It's all right, Joe. It's the right decision.
Oh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you have 12 as like number 4, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
All right, yeah. So like Joe said, mine's 7, 6, 10, 12, 9, 5, 8, 4, 11, 2, 3, and 1. Now, I also agree Final Fantasy XIII probably isn't the worst game in the series.
So you already knew before you even...
What?
See, I thought about it the whole time. It was just like, every time I come... Ever since we've like had to do a lot of these things... Like a lot of these things in a row. Now that there's 12 things on a list, it's like really hard to decide between them sometimes.
It is difficult to decide where this bad boy is going to go. I mean, I also agree it's not going below or above 12. And when I think about 9, although
12's your 4th.
Yeah, 12 is number 4. When I think about 9, although 9 it was a lot of fun, and it was an amazing soundtrack, good gameplay. I wasn't really captivated by the side quest particularly. I had no interest in doing it. Had no guilt about that.
People are gonna say, okay, all right, if you have no guilt, whatever.
No guilt. I don't give a shit.
Okay.
But 5 was so much fun. The gameplay was amazing. Story weak for the most part. The ending was very powerful. Oh shit! This is where it gets tough. There's a drop from 5 to 8, and not so much with 8 to 4. In fact, part of me wants to switch those two, but
you can do that if you want.
I know. Ah, Jesus! I'm having the same problem as you. Like, which game is it better than here?
What's the problem in between?
It's in between 5 and 8, I think.
So is it?
No, 5, 8, and 4. So same middle section of Final Fantasy.
Is it better than Final Fantasy V, or is it worse than Final Fantasy V?
I think it's worse. So
really?
It can't be above. Yes. Yeah, I liked 5. What are you worried it's going to be the same shit?
Yes.
Why
I don't like having the same fucking shit that you got. So yeah, I am worried. So you didn't actually decide this beforehand?
Not 100%, no.
Oh.
Maybe I'm just pulling your leg, though.
Just fucking decide. This is killing me.
Why is it killing you?
Because I've been sitting on this chair for 8 hours.
Oh, okay.
We recorded 4 episodes in a row.
That's true, we did.
3 of which were Ultimate Final Fantasy.
In all of their girth.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck. Oh, God. God. All right, I'm going to switch mine up.
You think 4 is better than 8 now?
I do.
Okay. Just through the eyes of time?
Yeah.
Okay.
4 has a better place in the series than 8. And because of that, I will put... Jesus. I'm going to put it 1 different than you. All right, so my new ranking, I've altered it slightly here, is going to be 7, 6, 10, 12, 9, 5, 4, 13.
You think it's worse than 4?
Yes.
Wow.
I know I bashed on 4 a lot.
You have bashed on 4 a lot.
The ending is bad. All right.
It is bad. And the sacrifice is made null.
Oh, God, don't make me feel bad about this.
It should make you feel bad.
And
no game, no story whatsoever should be like, oh, the character's dead. That character's dead too. That character's dead too. Oh, no, they're all fine, actually.
yeah, I agree.
That's a horrible sin that 4 committed. Sorry for all the lovers of 4 out there.
Yeah. So I'm going to put 4 and then 13 and then 8 and then 11, 2, 3, and 1. And the reason why I switched 4 and 8 today is because I wasn't having a hard time deciding if I liked 4 more than 13, because part of me does, but no part of me likes 8 more than 13. No part of me at all likes 8 more than 13. And I know a lot of people love 8, and it has its plot holes, massive plot holes to me, but I can't put 13 below it. I had too much fun.
And why is 13 worse than Final Fantasy IV?
I don't think the story was as good. Even though there were all those sacrifices, I don't know. It just felt like a lot of people say, the bad guy is not really the bad guy, and your guys are just whiny and not accepting the fact that they're going to have to do this thing, and then they end up doing it, and then they're like, oh, well, we saved it. We did well. It's like, no, you did exactly what the guy you hated wanted you to do. I don't know. And it was very rushed in the beginning. And it was like tutorial heavy, and I don't know. It was just really wordy. And not real words either. Let's see and shit. But I don't know. I feel like 4 really is where the game started becoming what it is now, too. So I feel like it has a stronger place in the series as a whole than 13. Because 13 didn't evolve into 14. 13 is just kind of jutted out there. That's maybe why it's kind of considered a black sheep, is because it didn't really necessarily add to the overall picture of the series. Not that it's a bad entry. They're all good games for the most part. And I just feel like it didn't add quite as much flavor as 4. 4 really set the stage for 5, 6, and 7. And I don't think 13 set the stage for 14 or 15, for that matter.
Well, 13 did set the stage in terms of sales, and then 14 decided to just...
Yeah, 14 was like, whoosh, gone. Goodbye, success.
Oh,
there is that. That was a tough rating, honestly.
14 is going to be... Well, I already like Realm Reborn.
No, I do too.
So, 14 is going to be... It's going to be a good review.
But we're bashing on original 14 that failed epically for them.
We're bashing on a game I never got to play. That actually kind of bugs me. I never got to play the horrible real 14.
They should just throw up a few troll servers.
I have to play the remake / sequel.
Yeah, it is odd, isn't it?
Yeah, that takes place. I guess it just replaces 14 in its place.
Yeah,
in the series.
All right, well. There they are, guys.
I think we should watch all the cutscenes for the original 14. There's only like 2 hours of it.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't think that would be the worst undertaking.
I don't think
I think it's doable.
Yeah. Just kind of like, okay, this is the context of the original. We should do a separate review. We should watch all the cutscenes and just talk about the original 14.
Oh, that's a solid idea.
Then we can give 14 a Realm Reborn kind of its own due. Or should we just mesh those two things up as the same thing?
I don't know. We'll decide. Well, I think we should watch the cutscenes and then see how much weight they really carry.
Because I know we're going to do a Final Fantasy IV interlude before we do After Years.
Right. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we'll see. We'll see how the cutscenes are and if they warrant their own view. Why not? I mean, we did that for
it's only 2 hours.
Yeah, we did that for the 7 movie. The, what was that? That really short one. Last Order.
Last Order?
Yeah, we did it for that, and that's only semi-canon at best.
Separate like a review of a movie. Okay. It's been decided.
All right. Okay. Bill Mardigan has decided for us on the stream here.
Yeah. We'll decide how much at least the story. We'll decide how that is.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy, the original Final Fantasy XIV.
Yeah. The untold story for most. All right, man. Well, I'm surprised, honestly. I thought you were going to list 13 higher. I thought 12's day was over. And I know you did too, but...
I did too, but,
Yeah, we explained it.
We did. You got the ending jingle pulled up for us.
Yep. Well, guys, it's been great. I am going to go not be sitting in this chair for a little while.
Okay. Join us on Final Fantasy XIV Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at 6:30. You can also watch it on Twitch if you don't want to play the game.
Yeah. Feel free. We're on Brynhilder server. Hopefully you can get on. I didn't have any problems at 3 a.m., so why not?
You can find us there. That's twitch.tv/Ultima Final Fantasy. You can also find us on youtube.com/Ultima Final Fantasy, facebook.com/Ultima Final Fantasy. Support us on Patreon, our brand new website that everybody should join, ultimafinalfantasy.com. The old forums are going the way of the dinosaur as soon as this review... a couple days after this review is put up.
And we're not talking evolving into birds either.
No, I'm talking about ones. I have the ability to go in and say, end this forum, and it will end. And I appreciate everybody, every single person who was ever on that forum. I really love that you guys were willing, when we set up the forum, we were like, oh, I hope someone shows up.
Yeah.
Because back then we were not getting the downloads that we are today.
No.
But hey, I hope someone shows up. It would be really nice if someone showed up. And then people slowly started showing up. And it was so awesome.
It was.
It was so awesome. So...
yeah, we're really glad for the support we got on that old forum, but we're really hoping you guys all come over and enjoy the new setup. It's really nice.
Please do.
All right, guys. Well, until next week or a few weeks from now, depending on how you saw this, enjoy the Final Fantasy grind.
This has been another production of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast. The show was produced by Joseph DeGaulier and Caleb Schweiss, with music and editing by Joseph DeGaulier, parodies and clips from their respective authors, of course. You can get all of our episodes as well as our Let's Plays at ultimafinalfantasy.com. You can also contact us on Twitter at UFF Podcast, as well as our contact page on our website. Be sure to subscribe and review our podcast. Your reviews may get read on the show, and look forward to the next episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast.